I learned that realtors and real estate professionals suck at the one thing I've been excelling in: social media branding. If you, as a real estate agent, did not excel in 2020, you are not a good real estate agent.
Explain that to me.
There were so many opportunities because the interest rates went down so low. I have clients that got a house for 2.85% interest rate.
The average household income was $1,600 a year, and the average cost of a home was $3,900. 2024, today, the average household income is $80,000 a year, and the average home cost is $400K. It's twice as hard to buy a house than it was during the Great Depression.
What's going on, everybody? Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Burn Down Podcast. Today in the studio, our good friend, Ed Stulak, real estate entrepreneur. He sells in real estate. I was going to say insurance. He teaches real estate. He invests in real estate. And he writes about real estate.
And he's a published author now,
Look at this guy. Look at this guy, Ed Stulak. We met him on the golf course months ago.
Yeah, months ago.
And now you're here, my friend. What's up, brother?
Oh, so honored to be here. I've been looking forward to it. Ever since hitting some balls with you guys on the course, I'm like, I got to talk to these guys more in depth, and we're better.
We just do it. So we met Ed at the at Tony Peck's Impact Golf Outing, which is like the biggest golf outing in the tri-state area. There's thousands of people there, and it was just Eric and myself. We had a former guest, Jose, who joined our group, and then Ed, and he's like, "Hey, we put Ed with your group." And I was like, "All right,
yeah."
No
Tony
problem.
was like, "I put you with Ed." He's like, "He's a really cool dude. You guys really get to know each other and you have fun." I'm like, "All right." And then once I seen his golf club with the hockey stick in the back, I said, "Fuck."
So being that that's his sport, he's a hockey player, just like Adam Sandler, just like Happy Gilmore, he had the hockey stick putter. I said, "Do you actually putt with that?" He goes, "Yeah, I do actually putt with that."
Watch me.
and sure as shit, he had this freaking putt from off the green. Went up, boop, rolled it right in.
I wish we had like so many videos from that day. How did we not record
Except that one. You know what? It's the good memories that aren't usually captured.
So. Yeah, this is true.
This is true, man. So that's where we met you. Now you're back here.
Yes.
We had an instant connection. Right here on the Burnout Podcast.
3-hour commute from Central Jersey.
Love it.
One of the taller guests here and one of the most long-distance guests. So 2 for 2.
Totally worth it.
So what's up, man? You're traveling the world. You're Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Pitbull. I'm like, yo, is this guy going to be able to make it to Long Island to come to our studio?
I've been watching his Instagram. I'm like, damn.
Spain, international speaker at a real estate event. It was Spain, right?
Hell yeah. I was in Spain. I just came back from Slovakia maybe a week ago.
Well, that's where your family's from, right?
Yeah,
You're originally from Slovakia. So were you there visiting family?
No, so I had some family come to where I was, because where my family is originally from is the eastern coast of Slovakia.
Okay.
Where I spoke at was the western side of Slovakia, which, by the way, completely different dialect. So when I started speaking in my dialect to the western side, they didn't understand. And it's about a 4 to 5 hour commute from one side to the other. So a lot of the family members couldn't make it, but I had some.
That's cool.
But it was a fun time.
So basically the commute that you made to come here.
It's something like that.
The level of dedication. So basically we're family to Ed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I like that.
Crazy, man. Well, let's get a little
as Germans and I guess Italians and Slavs, we all like to drink, right?
We do.
We like to drink, man.
We do.
Although I don't know if any of them drink bourbon.
No.
We do. We got bourbon over there.
We
have a saying in Slovakian. We say essentially water rusts the organs, so drink alcohol.
Water rusts the organs, drink alcohol. But what's the drink of choice over there? Like in Germany, it's beer. In Italy, it's wine. In Ireland, it's whiskey.
Slovakia, beer and vodka.
And vodka. Okay.
And we also have Slivovica.
So what is that?
Slivovica is plum brandy.
Plum brandy.
Damn.
Dude.
I should have brought some.
Yeah.
Dude. Well, that's interesting because that's kind of like...
what do you call Slavics? So you have Germans, you have Italians. Is it Slavic?
Slavs, yeah, Slavic.
All right, so I wasn't saying anything wrong. I was
No.
I was kind of right. Winging it off the hip there.
Yeah, Slovakia. You have Poland, Czech Republic, Ukraine.
Well, it's funny because there used to be Czechoslovakia.
Yes.
And now it's Czech Republic and Slovakia.
And now today it's Czechia. They just changed it again.
So it used to be Czechoslovakia was one country, and then it split into the Czech Republic and Slovakia.
When was this?
That was
really
1994 when I was born. So I still consider myself Czechoslovakian. I was just right on the
Right
bus.
on
So
the
you were
cusp.
born right? Were you born before or after the split?
I'd call it before.
Technically, was
I don't know the specific date, but
Okay.
94,
Okay.
that's when I was born, so I'll just call it
there you
that.
go. Okay.
Were you born in Czechoslovakia?
No, I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, good old Jersey.
Jersey.
So
Hope
you're a
you guys
Jersey
can
boy, through and
accept
through.
me. Yeah.
All right.
But he's Central Jersey, right?
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
There's you have North Jersey, South Jersey, Central. I feel
I'm
like
glad that you say that, because
Yeah.
a lot of New Jerseyans are very, nope, only North and South. No Central. I'm like, well, what do you explain the center part?
Well, I feel like the North hates the South and the South hates the North, but then you have the guys in the middle that like, well,
I'm just trying to live,
care,
brother.
you know,
I'm just
just
trying
let
to
me-
live.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ed, cheers. Thank you for coming on the show.
Cheers, my
Let's,
brother.
Let's
Thank
get
you.
this freaking
Salud.
started.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, that's some good stuff.
All right.
For
Ed
people that are
Stulak,
listening and they couldn't see, we're drinking some Angel's Envy.
a burned down classic. We're not
Pronounced
sponsored.
classic. I wish. And we're smoking Diligence.
Smoking Diligence, the new
Through
one.
and through, baby.
So you haven't smoked a Diligent. You have a box of blueprints.
Yes.
So this is the new cigar, and let's get it started.
Let's go.
All right. So
Ed Stulak.
I'm pulling up the. I got to pull up his page too, just to have some
Pull it up.
information. Got to. By the
We got to
way,
do that. We got our own fact checkers.
by the way, I love the. I love the promo pic of his new book.
Yeah, I was hoping to see it.
That's a man who doesn't give a fuck right there. That's a man.
I want to see a piece of bubblegum hang out.
That's a
but I
man.
didn't.
That's a man who doesn't give a fuck right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but
That's how it's done.
So let's talk about talk
Okay.
about who you are, how you got into real estate, and how you got
Yes,
into
yes.
developing a book.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
we always like to hear everyone's journey of where they are today, how they got here today.
Yeah, the stepping stones. So, as an only child, I don't have siblings. I don't really have anyone super close to me except my aunt. She's like my next best thing as a sister. But they raised me in America with pursuing the American dream. I was the first one born here in America. I learned how to speak Slovakian first and then English. Fast forward that whole in-between up until college. I went to Penn State University. Was playing ice hockey over there, studying pre-med. Life seemed to be going pretty good until I got injured. I had a bad shoulder injury and started failing pre-med. So life kind of just said, "Hey man, set your sails for a different direction."
So was it playing hockey you got injured?
Yeah, from hockey. Little guy knocked me on my behind, and that kind of
It got you good.
It was my blessing in disguise, because without that, I would probably still be pursuing something in the hockey world, which I love. I still love it, but
were you thinking about going pro?
I'm 6'4", 250 now. Like, I have a hockey slap shot like an NHL player. I'm from Europe. That's all we do. So I was hopeful.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, I'm playing
Hopeful.
hockey. Yeah.
So you went to school for hockey and pre-med. You got hurt playing hockey, and you started failing pre-med. There's like some kind of sign there. You couldn't help yourself in a medical field. I don't know what that sign is, but that's pretty ironic to me.
It was very ironic. It was more so my parents' dream for me to pursue pre-med and go to hockey and do all that.
So they wanted pre-med, you wanted hockey, and you're like, hey, I can go to Penn State and do both.
Something like that. I had some offers from different colleges, but Penn State to me sounded so, I don't know, prominent. Sounded so dominant. Like, wow, Penn State. I would love to go there. And it still is such a big school. So
what are they? The
Nittany Lions.
Nittany Lions,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, Nittany Lions.
The Lions.
That's right.
I know my college mascots.
That's
So
good
I
for like
was-
trivia.
Yeah. So I was studying that, failed, stopped with hockey, and I came home. I was 18 years old. I was on the couch. I was sinking into the couch, literally as my heart sank, my desire sank. I'm just, wow, this is bad. And I started thinking, what is the first thing that really made me happy? What's the first thing that put a smile on my face besides hockey? Was music. And I'm thinking, well, I love music so much, and specifically EDM. Just that BPM. And
That's
just
a little Europe background
That's
for you.
that-
That's the
definitely.
European in you. That's the European, yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
god,
That deep house.
Yes.
Yeah.
bro! We were so yesterday was my 3rd year anniversary, so we were watching our wedding video.
Okay.
It was like a club, so we had so much EDM. music playing. So it's like 11 o'clock. My wife's holding our baby, and I'm like, fucking love this fucking song. Da, 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 da. I'm like trying to be quiet, but yeah, it gets the fucking blood pumping. I would love to have
been there.
Oh, dude, it was a fucking banger. You would have had a great time.
Didn't I walk out with a cigar?
You had to walk out with a cigar in your mouth.
Do you know how many? Yeah. So you know how many people were saying just fucking light it, fucking just do it, light it. And I wanted to light that cigar so badly. But then there's the angel and the devil. The angel's like, the devil's like, just fucking do it, dude. Be a badass. It'd be so sick.
You drank like a beer or something.
Yeah, and then the other one is just like, and then the angel's like, listen, if you light the cigar, Eric's not going to get his deposit back. You're going to fuck everything up. Don't do it.
That's the smart thing.
And I was like, damn, what can I do? I was like, all right, chugging a beer.
The next best thing.
Oh, man. So many good songs.
That's great.
What a feeling in the sky.
That reminds me of like your Phoenix, Arizona. The bachelor party.
Oh, Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Have you been to
Arizona.
Scottsdale?
Oh yeah.
How much fun is Scottsdale?
What was the
all I need
is your love tonight.
Bro, so that was my theme song, right? So
that was it, man.
So we're watching it, my wife and I. That song comes on. It was like, all men assemble. Everyone came in like rushing from all floors. Like,
Sorry.
It was like my whole groom party, like they were at the bar, they were dancing over here, they were with their girlfriend, they all just stopped what they were doing, and we all converged, and we started going nuts. Oh,
right,
good
you
times.
know what?
So I interrupted you. So
no, I'm gonna interrupt again. You know why?
Interrupt.
Oh, because he wants to.
You know why?
He wants to play something.
Because here's what we're doing.
Let's not get copyrighted.
Here's what we're doing.
Fucking YouTube. 5 seconds. That's all we can get to play.
Is this the one we're playing right here? Ready?
Here we go. Oh God! Son, don't fucking get me started. Don't get me started.
All right.
Papacito.
That's it. That's all I wanted. Just that. All right. Just that little taste. Just a little taste of the glory. Okay?
All right, let's go back to Ed. Ed loves EDM. That's
Music.
where you're at. 18 years old.
Yes.
I apologize.
EDM. So like that rush that we just got, like that's the rush that hit me then. I'm like, well, I love that. I want to be a part of it. So anyway, this artist. Do you know the name Dioro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He had the.
Yes. 5 hours with Chris Brown.
Yes, that was the song.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah. You know that song?
So at the time, Dioro was still kind of just hitting the trends, like hitting the top charts and all that stuff. And I'm loving his vibe. So anyway, this random dude reaches out to me on Facebook. His name is Sal. Sal reaches out to me, says, hey man, I'm selling tickets to Dioro if you want to. And this was right at the time when this all just kind of set sails for a different direction. So maybe a week later, I got a message on Facebook, hey, I'm selling tickets. Immediately I buy VIP tickets because I want to meet the guy.
From some random dude.
So I'm like, I'm going.
How did he know to message you?
Because I liked something.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the promoters.
Gotcha.
Course.
Okay.
I liked it and immediately got a message. So I go to the club. Right, a few days later, I go to the club, and I go to the first person. We're in Howell, New Jersey, called Game Changer World, which, for those that are listening to know it was a popular club.
Okay.
So, nothing crazy, but it was popping. Anywho, so I get in there, and I'm the first person that looks like they're working there. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a guy, Sal. And he's like, oh, I'm Sal. I'm like, you have my tickets? He's like, yeah. He gives me the tickets. I have a blast of a night. At the end of the night, I'm in line. I'm waiting to meet Dioro. And little did I know, Sal is one of the openers for Dioro. So he was one of the DJs that was performing, selling tickets. That was my first ever entrepreneurial taste that I got of, oh shit, for him to be performing, he has to get tickets sold. And so now I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is a cool industry. I'm in line and he's like, yo, dude, you're that hockey guy. Right? Now he knows me from high school.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow. Anyway, not to make a long story.
Did you go to high school with this guy?
Like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we never hung out. Never knew each other or anything. He just recognized me. And I told him, no more hockey. I'm trying to pursue music. And he's like, dude, we just started teaching how to produce music, DJ, produce, all that stuff. Immediately, I signed up with them. And that's when I entered the music world. I became a DJ, a music producer. I performed in Ohio at a what do you call it? A frat party.
Justin's
I gotta ask.
Justin's gonna ask.
What's the DJ name?
Saint Ulak.
Saint Ulak. DJ Saint Ulak.
I put a little dot between the T and the.
Hey, I love it.
You want to know Justin's name in college?
Don't say it.
DJ Footlong. DJ Footlong.
Dude, it's one of those names you just been somebody.
Bro, that could have been great. You could have been like your girlfriend's favorite DJ. DJ Footlong. Your girl's favorite DJ. When's Footlong
It was
playing?
one of, it's like
that's great.
nickname. You can't give yourself a nickname, right? Like people just give you a nickname, and somebody said like
Footlong.
DJ Footlong. I was like,
that's great.
and then somebody said it, and I was like, that's a fucking gag. Like that's so stupid.
Yeah.
And then somebody else was like, yo, that's you, and everybody's like, that's fucking hilarious. But I'm like, fuck. Now I'm stuck with it. DJ Footlong, and
that's great.
so that was the name. So you got DJ St. Ulak.
Yeah, DJ St. Ulak. So I performed a little bit here and there, but throughout that journey,
You got any mixes up on?
SoundCloud?
maybe.
Yeah. Let's go.
Can I find it? I wish you were Joe Rogan. Jamie, find the fucking track.
You need like an intern here.
All right, can I play it?
You can.
Where is it? Is it on SoundCloud?
Somewhere on SoundCloud. Yeah, DJ St. Ulak or St. Ulak
DJ
NYC mix
Saint
or NYE mix, I think.
Ulak NYE mix.
I think it might have been a New Year's Eve mix. Oh,
Oh,
God.
hell yeah. When was the last time you heard this mix?
7 years ago? 8 years ago?
Oh, we gotta find it.
Dude, I don't.
Oh, this is nostalgia right now. Wow.
Come on, bro. You come to the
It's
burn
It's on
down.
SoundCloud.
You smoke a cigar, and you
Well,
get
I'm gonna go to
nostalgia.
SoundCloud.
So let Justin find it, and
Yeah,
we'll
type
listen.
in my
I'll
name. It
I'll
might
find
pop
it.
up that way. God. Anyway, so
I will find it.
I'm producing. I'm having fun with the DJ world. But during that music production era, I realized I need a brand. I need to have a face. I need to be selling tickets. I need to be selling my image. I need sponsors to be reaching out to me. I need that. That's how you succeed.
Got
You
it.
survive as a music producer, as an artist.
I got it.
So immediately I'm like, okay, I got to come up with a name and a brand. That's where DJ St. Ulak came around, right?
And what does that mean?
St. Ulak? Nothing. It's my last name, Stulak.
Oh.
Just with
Yeah.
a little dot right between.
You want to hear it?
Oh, that's the one.
Let's go. Here we go. We don't have to worry about copyright because this is yours right here. We got permission to use
There's
it.
a bunch of random mixes in there, yeah, so you'll probably know some. Oh, dude.
He posted this a day after my birthday on 2015.
Get that.
Oh. I like the nice build up. Here we go.
All
Good
right.
build up.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Wow.
30 minutes or something? I don't even know.
Oh. Yeah,
Yo,
baby.
this is there's just sweat and drinks.
If you're listening to this in your car, you're fucking vibing.
No,
right
you're
now.
not listening to this in your car.
You're not saying people
in a
listen to this.
sea of people, and there's just sweat pouring down.
If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're in the car.
2 o'clock in the morning.
You're
You're just going. You just go.
Ooh, it's a long build up.
It's fine.
I'm sure he gets into it. It's the intro, right?
I love a good woman vocal. Love it.
Oh, I
Love
know
it.
this song. I know this song.
It's an oldie.
Yo, you know what the best mix is ever I've ever heard in my life? Tomorrowland 2012 remix. Oh, mix. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, shit, dude, I listened to that way too much.
So do I. That was my in college. That was our fucking pregame, bro.
All right, ready for it?
Yeah, let's go.
Ready for it?
DJ St. Ulak in your speakers. Where's DJ Footlong? I want to find him. I want to meet DJ Footlong.
All right, I want to hear this drop. Here it comes. Ready? Here it comes. Ready?
All right, ladies and gents, put your fucking hands up. Yeah. I'm sweating right now. Bro, that's fucking nasty.
All right. I might have to put that on the workout playlist.
Bro, that was nice.
Damn, DJ St. Ulak coming back? What?
Yo,
making a comeback? Make a comeback?
Via the BDP.
Love it. All right, so now let's get back on track here. Let's get back.
That's right. Which track? That one or this one?
Yeah,
This one.
let's bring the heart rate down. Damn.
So that was so cool. I gotta say that was cool. So it was
I
like
feel like Jamie from Joe Rogan found it 2 seconds. Boop, boop, play.
like I just felt my 18, 19 years old again. This is awesome. This is part of the podcast. This is the story. And so like that momentum right there, I'm loving the atmosphere. I'm loving the vibes. I'm loving the music. But I learn about this whole concept of branding, marketing. It's a must. So all of a sudden, these guys that taught me music production and DJing, I became their tour manager. Now I stepped into the business role. Now I started helping them with their brand, their social media content, their videography. All of a sudden, I became the guy behind the scenes. And now I'm starting to go on tours with them and traveling around the country. Fast forward, that was the biggest stepping stone for me to get to where I am today. Because from that day, it taught me all about marketing, branding, I grew my portfolio as a social media content creator for them. People were coming to me now saying, can you do what you did for them, but for us? I worked with some influencers and some celebrities as well on the back end. Some people from Teen Moms and MTV and all that stuff.
That's
and
cool.
so, I was learning so much from that world. And then eventually, I took a step back and I said, I don't want to do this for people. I want to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I miss doing it for me. I miss DJ St. Ulak. I want to do that for me again. And so all of a sudden, I get into this world of real estate because I'm thinking, wow, the fancy watches and the suits and this and the money and also real estate. It's one of the most profitable things that I feel like every podcast I've ever listened to or every book I read, everyone always talks about, you got to get real estate. You got to have a property. You have to have multifamilies, residential, commercial. And I'm thinking, what better way to learn besides just diving right into it and being a realtor? I'll learn off of other people's mistakes. I'll learn from their experiences, and I'll make some money as well.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward maybe a year into my journey as a real estate agent, I learned that realtors and real estate professionals suck at the one thing I've been excelling in, social media branding.
Huh.
And that's where the book idea came, how to expose yourself.
And how long
I've actually heard that before, is that a lot of realtors are old school, which is okay, right? Because it's a very face-to-face business, right? Ultimately, the final deal, it's face-to-face, right? Yeah. For the most part, okay? There are some, I heard these people make the deals online. It's like, all right, I'm going to buy this place, and I'm just going to flip it and sell it over. You never see the person's face. But the old school days of being a real estate agent, you're selling somebody a house. You're trying to sell them the dream of this is your forever home, right? But the social media, they don't understand. Like, well, I'm not going to sell a house on social media. No, but you'll get a client from social media that might want you to sell their house.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like the bigger your social media can be, the bigger your reach can be, and maybe the more deals you can be.
That's right.
People don't realize that. They just think, oh, I'm going to, real estate the old school way.
Attention equals money, essentially, at the end of the day. If you don't have attention, if you're not winning it from the audiences that you desire to win it from, you're just going to be behind, and the competition is going to crush you.
And nowadays, it's unfortunate that the attention span has gotten so low that you can win or lose somebody's attention within the first 3 seconds of a video.
Yeah.
So here's what I say. I say that social media, your content creation, is insignificant and significant at the very same time. The second I see your post, significant, right? And then I scroll, insignificant.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not consistent in posting something right afterwards, or maybe a day after, or 2 days, whatever, you're going to lose my attention. Mm-hmm. I don't care, because there are other content creators that are doing it better than you.
Yep.
And you're gone. Sorry.
I agree.
I mean, Instagram, there's like, what, 1 billion users a month or something like that? Some astronomical number.
Yeah, way too many.
Right? Think about how many posts there are every single day.
Every second.
What do you think the number is? Let's look at it.
That's a good game. Okay.
Let's look at it.
A second or a
how
day?
many Instagram
posts per second?
Instagram posts per, what do you want to do? Per second?
Per second?
Per
All right, let's
second.
Guess. Let's guess.
Globally.
Globally, the whole world. Holy shit.
Yeah, let's see.
My guess is going to be somewhere around probably, 4 million, 5 million.
Wait, posts? Okay, so it's not quite that high.
Okay, it's not that high.
It's not that high, because think about every second.
I was going to say 1.5 million.
Okay, it's not quite that high.
But
okay. You have to think about every single 1 second, 1 second, 1 second,
right.
1 second,
right.
1 second, 1 second, right? So if you have 1 million, now you're doing you have 60 million in a minute times 60 minutes in an hour is 3.6 billion. Like it's
so what are we talking? More like 50,000, 100,000?
So it says about 694 posts every second globally, which equates to
we were way off.
Which equates to 95 million photos and videos are shared on Instagram every day, which is about 66,000 a minute. But think about it, 95. So every single day, you want to post once a day, right?
Wow.
Which not many people do. Posting once a day is like the bare minimum to really grow. You're competing against 95 million other posts that were posted that day.
These are good stats. I got to use these for my presentations.
So like to your saying, it's like you got to grab the attention. And if you're posting 2 a day, 3 a day, like the more you can post,
it's a job. It's a whole job.
But think about that, 700 posts every second. Like we've been sitting here, we've been talking for 24 minutes. That's 24 minutes times 60 seconds is 1,200 times 7. That's what, 9.6 million. Like
your math sounds right. I'll trust you.
960,000.
He's an engineer.
960,000. I'm assuming. What is it? 20?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Times 60 times, what did we say? 700.
Real estate insurance. We're good at math.
So it's 900. So it's a million. I guess 960,000.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah.
So
me too. I was going to say
right now, just for the length of this podcast, million posts. New posts.
Nuts. New.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with podcasts. I was just telling Justin about podcasts. I don't know if you ever thought about doing a podcast, but right now, from what the statistics.
I don't know your statistics.
Yeah. There's about almost 4 million podcasts, right? Out there. So I was doing the math, and our downloads how many downloads we get an episode per week, per episode. So we fall in the 2% of all podcasts. So pretty top tier. So then when you do the math of 2% out of essentially 4 million, that's 70,000
80,000, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, pretty top. That's pretty cool because we post every Friday. We have a significant amount of downloads, per the stats. But I'm like, so every Friday we're competing with essentially 70,000 other podcasts.
That's great.
It's great, but it's like it's still
like you said, it's significant but also insignificant, right?
Yeah.
You look at the macro, you're like, we're very significant. We're it's top 2% in the world,
right?
Yeah.
Like if you they talk about 98% is of try to be the top 2% of people that don't do the things that the bottom 98% do, right? So you look at it like that, you go, we're in the top 2%. That's great, it's significant. But then you go, yeah, but you're fighting against one out of 70,000. Like,
so I love this topic, and I'll venture off not too far. It has.
Yeah, do you want to get back to real estate?
No, it has everything.
We
to do
go
with
off on
this
tangents
topic.
here, man.
I would hope so. It's
we
authentic.
We all come back at the end, but we take detours.
So let's talk about what sells. Why
sex?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take off your pants.
Yeah. No, listen. You know what we call them? You know what we call them?
No.
We call them on social media. We call them skinfluencers.
Nice.
So
Smart.
you have your we call them skinfluencers.
I'm a skinfluencer with my latest post.
Yeah, because do you know how many women we've seen that have come into whatever industry is, like the cigar industry, that have come in and they just post a picture of a cigar or them holding a cigar and they'll be like half naked in some bikini, and their account blows up. And they consider themselves a cigar influencer. I go, no, you're not. You're even if you know about cigars, you're not posting the cigar. You're posting your body. And 98% of the guys that are following you are not following you because of the cigar that you can't even see what it is. They're following you because of your body.
It's what catches attention. So what else catches attention? There's 5 things that I always say. Sex being one of them.
Money is probably another one.
Education.
Or how to make money is probably the number one thing that people Google.
Even more generic. Right?
Education, okay.
So education. Entertainment.
I was going to say entertainment.
So entertainment can fall into the category of money, of funny stuff, skits,
comedy,
comedians,
skits, golfing,
emotional,
golf,
right?
Yeah.
Animals, right? The second I see a dog or like a girl sees a fucking cat, and all of a sudden, oh my god, how cute, right? Attention's grabbed. And then lastly, family, kids, children, because it's relevant. And so if someone sees one of those 5 somehow on social media, they stop and their attention focuses for at least a brief second. So that's all that matters today is you have to catch it and then hopefully hold them long enough to watch the whole thing or see the whole post or see the whole caption and then really buy into the brand.
You know what I would throw into the entertainment category? And it shouldn't be entertainment. It shouldn't be. But I was thinking that there's probably a 6th category in my head, but I'm like, it probably falls into entertainment because it's entertaining to people, is when they like accidents or violence or like fights and stuff, right? Like fights when you see like, bully gets his ass kicked,
right?
And people are like, I want to see it.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Like,
UFC is entertainment.
I know it's entertainment, but you see like,
that's definitely
guy drives a truck off of a cliff, and they're like, I want to see it.
Or bully gets what he deserves.
Or just like guy breaks his leg hang gliding, and you're like, I want to see it. And it's sickening because like you really want to see this guy like. Because like you'll see a car accident. Everybody loves the car accident. They want to see the car accident. That's why you turn the news on. You're not turning the news on to see the cute little puppy. You're turning the news on because you want to see, oh my God, there's a 15-car pileup. Look at that. The thing exploded. Same thing like traffic starts. It's because everybody wants to see. They're rubberneckers. They want to see they want to see it. But it's like the guy could be dead in that car. And you don't care. You want to see the accident.
That's right.
And it's entertainment. And I'm like, this is like,
what
think
other,
about
what other,
this.
What other topics would be outside of those five?
Those five elements, five
pillars. I feel like that kind of covers almost.
It covers everything.
Everything, right?
It does for the most part.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people, for example, in my industry, in real estate specifically, let's talk about that, right? In real estate, we even see it. A lot of the realtors always posting, hey, I just listed this property, or hey, I just sold this property.
Right.
Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
No one gives a shit. And it's so unfortunate that that's what real estate professionals think that still works. Don't get me wrong. It's what builds up the portfolio and shows your ideal avatar, look, I'm doing stuff. I'm selling. It's not like I'm not.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. But don't always post that and rely on your brand to grow because of only that. You have to make it sexier and spicier and sweeter. And that's where stuff that the 5 things that we just talked about really grabs those people's attention.
And if you can combine 2 categories, right?
That's
like
the
if you
next
can
thing.
Teach but also be entertaining at the same time. Edutainment, right?
That's edutainment.
Then, like, if you can be funny but you're also teaching something, then great. Then now people are gonna learn something, but they're all like, wow, this guy's freaking funny as hell.
That's right. I have a post on my page. It's the top right post. It's gonna be me in my suit in front of one of my listings, big mansion, 12,000 square foot home, and I'm holding the dog, the owner's dog, in my arm.
Oh yeah.
So that was, I call it 2 things in one, right? So I'll just call it sex, the suit, right, and then the animal. Majority of the comments that you'll see in there are all about the dog.
Yeah.
Is the dog for sale? Is the dog coming with the house? How much is the dog?
No, you know what's so funny is because you're right. Whenever we post, like, we'll post some stuff about, and it'll be like, I'll just make something up. I'll make up a post of how to light a cigar, and I'll be sitting there, right, and you'll teach how to light a cigar, or whatever. And let's say you're in like a nice suit, okay, and you're teaching, here's how you light a cigar, right? You take a couple of puffs. Like, half of the comments will be some weird fucks. They're like, oh, you're so sexy when you smoke that cigar. Or, oh, I wish, and then you'll get a slide into the DMs like, hey, I wish you were naked smoking that cigar in my bedroom or something.
I wish I got these messages.
Like some shit like that. And it's like,
come over on our side.
But you're right. It's sex sells. It's like, you're not even intending to do that. I'm trying to teach you, like, hey, it's a classy thing. Let's teach you how to smoke a cigar, blah, blah, blah. But then people just completely miss that. It goes way over their head. They're just like, I want to bang this guy.
Because,
literally.
I always said, because we always see, because we've been doing this almost for 6 years now, the podcast, all the cigars and everything. And we were always at least I was always against kind of doing like the educational stuff, because everyone does it, and within the cigar industry there's only so many things that you can educate people on. So I was always like, I don't want to do that because everyone else is doing it. But you see these new cigar accounts, these new pages, and they get all these subscribers, they get all these followers, and they're just talking about how to light a cigar, how to pair this cigar with this, and flavor profiles. And I'm like, aren't you people tired of the same shit? But no, I guess I'm wrong, because
it's an intro to the brand and the business, or the concept that you're trying to put out there.
Yeah,
it's just a way to hook them in.
And it's another thing to look at is, it's to us, we would think, aren't you bored about that? But that's only because we've been doing it for so long. But there's new people every single day that haven't seen your account.
It's breathing air for us. We just do it.
I'm like, we might post this. I'm supposed to post a how to light video like 15 times on my page. But the 16th time might attract 100 new people that have never seen the count before.
That's true. That's right.
For me, it's the 15th one. I'm like, God, how much of this can I freaking do? I've done it so many times.
Yep.
But the first 15, they didn't see. Right? Now the 16th might attract new people.
As a real estate agent, I know how to write up offers. I know what it takes to win a house in today's market, right? 2024 real estate market. Not the consumer, though. The consumer that is just fresh out there, just been renting for the past 3 years, is ready and fresh meat on the market. Like, how do I buy a house? They don't know that you have to sign an agreement. We have to get a document. We have to go show the property. We have to schedule it. We have to submit an offer. We have to get a pre-approval. What's a pre-approval?
It's not like, hey, here's a bag of cash. Give me the fucking keys.
Yeah,
That's not. Yeah. I wish it was like that. It'd be so much easier.
To me, as a real estate agent, I get it. To a consumer, they don't get it.
Yeah.
So
they're like, hey, here's my money. Go get me the freaking keys. Yeah, I don't want to sign anything. Just give me the freaking keys, okay?
And that's the kind of world that we're kind of entering.
Eric,
give it to me now, and
turn the heater off, please.
It's getting a little. I feel like it's getting smoky in here, or what?
No, not that bad. Maybe it's just me. I'm a big old pussy.
Well, we started talking about sex, and
I'm getting a little hot in here. I'm a little flustered, man.
After that EDM.
Yeah, I'm a little hot and bothered right now. Watch out, Papacito.
I'm gonna open this one up.
But yeah, I mean the whole social media thing. It's always, and once you think you got it, the next day you don't got it.
That's another thing too, is you can analyze and analyze and analyze. You'll never fucking figure it out.
You can have the best posts. You can have the best camera angles, the most vibrant videos, the coolest effects. Doesn't do shit. And the most boring video, the most standard video, that's the video that like pops off.
You got to follow trends. You got to follow relevance. You got to follow what the influencers and the celebrities are doing nowadays. Because if they're doing it, then you'll do it. This is how fashion trends start. Why are you wearing a crew neck? Why are you wearing a vest? Why am I wearing these shoes or these boots? Because I've seen someone else wear it. I'm like, I want to be similar to that. I like that style. You get influenced. And it's usually those that have a brand, have some sort of following, have a name, have a reputation. And then that's who we follow and watch what they do. So you have to be... Oh, I like this one too. You have to be a content creator, but also a content consumer. Because if you don't consume enough, you don't know what to create. Because if you're only creating what you think works.
And there's a few people, there's only a very few, select few that can solely be like the trendsetters, that are the content creators, that like they are just doing that, and they've set like their own path, right? There's like, everybody's like, oh, I want to, it's... Once you can get there eventually, but I feel like you have to hop on these trends a little bit in the beginning until you can kind of build up, and then you build a trust with people, and they come to your account because they find you interest. Then you can start dabbling, like, okay, I've built up, I'm going this way, and I'm gonna try to dabble this way, see how they take it. And some people will be like, they don't really take. Okay, I'll come back. Then I'm gonna dabble over here and see how they take it. Yeah. Maybe they're like, oh, I like that. Like, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more, and then like there's a perfect example of an account that I follow on YouTube called Bob Does Sports, and they're a golfing account, but they never were a golfing account. They were a Bob Does Sports. It was a guy named Bob and his friend that they were just going to post videos of different sports, like Bob doing sports, and he's like, I'm just going to try everything, whatever. And then they did a golfing video once, and it kind of hit, and they're like, well, let me try another one, and then it kind of hit again, and they're like, all right, let me do it. And they just found it and said, okay, fuck it. We're not doing any other. We're just doing golf now. And they just found that path after trying all these other things. That's the one that their audience happened to just love. And they said, you know what? Screw it. Bob Does Sports is now golf. Nice. So it's still called Bob Does Sports, but it's a golf channel. That's all it does. They just do crazy things on golf course. But they dabbled, found the one that...
But just like artists, we're talking about music again, all these artists initially started with a sound. They were trying to figure out what is their sound.
Oh yeah,
Lady Gaga, Deadmau5, Skrillex, you name it.
They all have that. And
you have to start somewhere. For example, AC/DC. We can tell by all of their albums, there is some sort of theme going throughout every single album. Do you think in the back of their minds they're like, fuck, I don't want to create this music again. I want to create something else, but our audience and our fan base knows us for this. So maybe we'll tweak it a little bit. Now we'll throw in some rock and roll, but with a little bit of, and that's how people evolve eventually. But you got to give the audience what they want, why they follow you for it.
Yeah.
Well, imagine all of a sudden you guys changed instead of cigars to cigarettes.
Listen, I don't care if the audience wants that.
That
ain't happening.
They'd be like, what the hell is going on here?
That wouldn't make sense.
I got to be honest, if the audience said, I want you to do an episode smoking a cigarette, I'd say go fuck yourself.
I would say you got to pay me.
I'd say sorry, audience.
You got to pay me a substantial amount to do that.
Sorry, audience. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Nah, fuck.
All right, so I want to get. Where did we leave off? We were talking about real estate, how you got into the real estate.
Yeah.
How did you become so successful in real estate?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't consider it success just yet. I must say that I'm doing it much better than I am, when I was 8 years ago when I originally started real estate. I'm selling a lot of houses nowadays. I have a team. I am buying properties myself. I just got back from Europe from speaking to a Remax event. There was 1,000 people that were in that crowd.
How did you get picked to do that?
They saw me speaking somewhere else, and they said, hey, would you have any interest coming overseas and speaking for our community?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would love that. I love training. I love teaching. I love putting a smile on someone's face and also giving them value. Yeah. It makes my heart happy, so happy. So if I could do that overseas now, which I am, I love that. I've been doing America. Like, I'm going to Virginia in December. I'm going to Atlantic City. But for Q1 of 2025, I already have 4 countries that are booked in Europe.
Damn.
So is this like another venture that you're going to do? Is kind of be like a public speaker, like a motivational speaker almost?
I've been wanting to do it. So to me, it's kind of like, finally, it's here.
Do you think you'll start just doing this full time? Just speaking?
No. I feel like I still need to be a master of my craft that I talk about. So
Sure.
I don't want to ever step away and say, hey, no, I'll teach real estate, but I won't do it. Like, I still do it. Look, I know the regulations. I know about the new contracts. I know about this whole NAR situation that just recently occurred. If someone came to me and they were like, what do you think about the NAR situation? By the way, this was a big lawsuit in the real estate world, right? Now, like, everything kind of shifted a little bit. If I didn't know it, I would look a little like ignorant. Like, dude,
Yeah.
do you
What
know?
that's where the commission split, right?
The commissions, yeah.
So what they ruling for that?
Essentially, we need to now, as buyers agents representing a buyer, we need to have a document signed with them stating that you are working with me solely as your buyer's real estate agent. And on top of that, potentially, you as buyer might be paying me a commission at the end of the closing.
What do you mean maybe?
It depends on the seller's situation. There might be 30 offers where you have to really tweak your offer and impress the seller. There might be only one offer on the table where you're like, seller, you pay for the commission. But if you're amongst 30 other buyers, we're talking about
The seller doesn't have to
saturation.
pay it. Yeah.
Seller's like, no, you pay it. You want my house? Pay it. And buyers are like,
Yeah.
I've lost so many houses. I guess I have to pay it.
Damn.
You know?
So now essentially the buyer could be paying more for that.
Potentially. Hasn't been a lot, but there are some properties where I've already discussed with some sellers and seller side where they're like, yeah, you're going to have to come in and pay the commission as well on top of that. So now, on top of the down payment, on top of the fees, on top of the closing costs, on top of that all, I have to tell the buyer, hey, by the way, you also owe me like another $12,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously that's disclosed up front. You don't
Yeah.
surprise your buyer.
Hey, by the way,
Here's the keys, but
Well, I feel like it's a very black and white situation when it comes to it, where you're saying, hey, listen, you're the only offer on the table, so the seller's going to pay it. Or, hey, listen, you're going to have to pay the commission because you're one of 25 offers. So the seller's not going to pay it because if you don't pay it, then one of his other offers will.
and when you say we're talking about the seller not paying his real estate agent the commission. Is that what we're talking about, right?
essentially.
So the buyer would be paying for the representing the buyer's commission as well as the seller's commission. Potentially.
This is all negotiable.
Yeah.
This is, hey, do you want this cigar? Well, 40 other people want it too. What are you going to do to get it? As opposed to, oh, well, you're my only buyer. I will pay you to take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's life. That's the best way to put it, analogy-wise. So that's the world we've entered past 4 years, ever since COVID started in early 2020, right? We've entered such an insane market of real estate.
It's crazy.
Where buyers... Listen, I have clients
I have
that are
not
crying.
seen the housing, like...
No one has.
Dude,
no
it's not... Because, like, now granted, I've not been it's not like I'm 65, 70 years old and have seen a lot of housing markets, right?
I've seen a lot.
I've seen the last, maybe 12 years or so, right? Like, 12, 16 years, something like that. And you need more, dude?
I'm going to put bourbon in my coffee.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
You get a little crazy.
But I've just looked at it from... I'm a numbers guy, so I looked at the numbers. I looked at what is it, what's the average income in America versus the average housing price in America versus the interest, the interest rate in America. So I looked versus the average debt. Like, I looked at all the numbers.
What was the average? Like $45,000 in income or something like that?
Average is, I haven't looked up in a while, but I'm thinking it's like, what, 55, 60,000?
I remember back in,
I think like a couple makes, two people make $100K.
Yeah, because I remember the only time I ever looked at it was when I first got my first job with AT&T in 2016. And I was like, what is the average year income? And it was $45,000. And I think they offered me like 55 grand. So I'm like, hey, I'm richer than the average American.
Yeah,
nice. Success.
So we actually did the number, and I'll just do it really quick. I said, okay, ready? What is the average household income in America?
Yeah, my guess is like 45, 50 still.
Yeah, it's got to be
consider
around.
the middle
in
America. They
don't make money.
What about Kansas?
Average.
Did you buy houses in Kansas for
cost
$60,000?
I know. I looked up like North Dakota. I think,
in
or South
America.
Dakota. Dumb cheap. Crazy houses, ton of property.
When was the Great Depression again?
1920, 1928, 1920s.
Something like that. All right, let's say I'll just type in during the Great Depression.
I feel like
Give
this is a
me
ChatGPT.
the
Definitely a ChatGPT
numbers for
Isn't ChatGPT
2024.
It's so
the best.
Okay,
it's
ready?
so good. I made a LinkedIn post. I was like, I don't feel like thinking. This is
right.
what I'm thinking. Make me a post. I'm like,
All right, so here you go. Ready?
fucking phenomenal.
Listen how crazy this is. This is what's absolutely bonkers. Okay, we talked about this on the show before, but this is me being a numbers guy. Okay, I'm not a real estate agent. There's a lot of ins and outs about it. I'm like, just give me how much do people make, and how much does it cost to buy a home, average, right? During the Great Depression, 1933, the Great Depression, one of the worst times in American history, the average household income was $1,600 a year. Okay, and the average cost of a home was $3,900. Okay, so about 2 to 2.5 times
The income.
the income. Okay, so whatever you make, 2 to 2.5 times the income is the house.
And I feel like it was like that for quite some time.
Okay, now listen to this. In 2024, today, the average household income is $80,000 a year.
Is that dual or
Oh,
single?
household.
It says household income.
Household. Okay.
And the average home cost is $400K. So almost
More
4
than
to
4
5x. So right now it's twice as hard to buy a house than it was during the Great Depression, which is one of the worst times in American history.
Use that stat.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's nuts.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
It's
So
sad,
household
honestly.
income. So 80,000. So divide that by 2 potentially,
Yeah,
and then there you
So
go.
okay. Now even if the household income, even if your household income is $100K,
Yeah.
Still 4 times.
4x to buy a house versus Great Depression, it's only 2.5x. So
Crazy.
that me being now, granted, there's probably a lot of other things, the interest rates and loans and all these other things, probably a lot. But just looking at the very bare minimum, the basics, that's nuts to say that
it's not easy.
Do you see a lot of people paying more cash?
New Yorkers are coming into Jersey and they're just here you go. Here's I sold my 2-bedroom condo in New York for $3 million. So
Yeah.
I would like to buy your 4-bedroom for $600,000. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Here's cash. $700. Take it.
Yeah.
And that's who we have to compete against. And I have clients that are just graduating college or just finishing or getting out of their parents' house, and they're like, I want to buy a house. And then I have to tell them this.
Yeah.
story.
Do you have $600K cash?
And they're like, no, I don't.
It's like, no, I have $6K cash.
I just offered for one of my very good hockey buddies. We just offered for $610,000, which was $30,000 over the asking price. He put 4% down. He's a cop, like an awesome job, great money, and he lost because low down payment, and they got higher than $610,000.
I'll one up you on this one. So I live in Westchester, which is one of the richest counties, right? I'm sure you know this already. So, someone bought a house for over $200,000, the asking price.
It's disgusting. I believe it though.
$200,000 over asking price.
Yes.
I believe it.
And the taxes?
Ew.
Let me guess, cash offer.
I don't
More than
think.
likely.
But that's what you said. Is
I don't
it's
know.
like you got these
I
guys
really
that are
don't
just
know.
trying to, like, there's a young couple that they're just trying to start a life together, and they're like, listen, we don't have, they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. They might have like $50K, $60K between the two of them in the bank, and they're like, listen, now, and they don't want to, dump their entire load into the freaking house. They're like, all right, we have $60K. We want to put maybe $40K down.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, is that 10% of a house? Maybe we could do 10%, right? You're still going to have to pay PMI, but maybe, first-time home buyers, we might be able to get a discount, 5%, something like that. Okay, so if you figure 40K is 5%, okay, then now you're looking at an $800,000 home. You go, all right, cool. We could get, we might be a little house broke, but maybe go for 600. They're kind of looking at the numbers, and then you got some company that comes in, a corporation says, you know what, I'm going to buy it, $200 above the asking price, all cash offer, and you're the seller. You go, sorry, young couple, like, I'm going to take the cash, right?
You just explained the housing market the past 4 years. That's how it's been.
And then what are you going to do? And then you know what that corporation's going to do? They're just going to rent it out.
Yeah.
They're going to buy that house, and they're going to jack the rent up to twice what their mortgage is. And now that young couple says, oh, I really want that house. Oh, okay, guess what? Well, instead of paying your, $2,000, $2,500 mortgage, now you got to pay me $5,000 a rent.
It's
like, what are you
are veterans
to do?
like benefiting from this scenario? Because vets get a VA loan. It's 0% down, right?
Yes, they are not. Unfortunately, a lot of the VA, we call them the VA loans, right? The buyers, they're not winning because it's either cash or conventional loans or FHA. It's usually conventional and cash that's winning nowadays, but also depends on the area. I don't want to say, no, this is how it is.
Conventional being just a straightforward 20% down. You get the,
Yeah, usually. Like when I bought my house, it was 15% down conventional loan, but I had to do it because I was up against 10 other offers. So, Ed, what is your offer going to be? I waived my commission. I did this. I did that. I said inspections. I don't even need to do them. What the hell? We can keep ranting about this because this is insane.
Brutal.
But what you just said, that scenario right there is how the housing market has been the past 4 years, and I see it continuing for the next maybe year or two.
So how did you function through COVID in real estate? Like how did you navigate through that?
So to be honest with you, I had a lot of opportunities from the comfort of my own home and my PJs, working on my computer. Like I realized that I don't need to be as much out there as I think you need to be as a realtor.
Dick pics.
Pretty much.
Feet finder.
You got OnlyFans.
Feet finder.
No.
No.
Ed Stulak.
Ed _ Stulak.
Same Like it was fine. I remember I was driving to Atlantic City from my area. I was a 2-hour drive. I was driving an hour into my drive. I got a phone call from the organizer of the event that I was supposed to speak at in Atlantic City, and they said, "Hey, we're canceling the event. This COVID thing is not looking good, and so we have to cancel." I turned my car around, and my hour back home, I got a phone call from every single buyer and seller and landlord and developer I was working with, and they were like, "Ed, we're going to pause. We're going to take a second. We don't know what's happening."
God. So literally everything just came crashing down.
My business went downhill. My coaching went downhill. I'm thinking my commodity as coach, like no one cares about coaching right now. They care about, let me save money because I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
That hour drive, I will never forget the pain that I went through emotionally. I'm thinking, everything I've built, oh my God, it's crashing. Holy crap. And then 2 weeks later, every single phone call came right back. They're like, "Ed, fuck this. Let's go buy." And then it started. And that was March.
Everybody was
so
buying.
You essentially excelled during COVID.
I excelled like crazy. If you, as a real estate agent, did not excel in 2020, you are not a good real estate agent.
So explain that to me.
There were so many opportunities because the interest rates went down so low. I have clients that got a house for 2.85% interest rate. What?
It's like twice that.
I'm sorry.
Mine's a 5. Yeah, mine's 5125.
5.75. It's insanity. The things that happened during that time, because I guess the economy's like, oh shit, we gotta do
it was
something.
panicking. Yeah.
So interest rates went low, buyers went high. Because, oh my God, interest rates. I need to buy a house. I don't care how crazy it is. I can buy a house for 2.75 or 3% down. Or, I'm sorry, 3% interest rates. I'm doing it. Let's go. And that lasted for another 2-ish years.
Well, you think about it. Everything was on sale.
Everything was,
right.
In
Like,
sense,
I mean, in the stock market, you know how much shit I bought during COVID? Because everything was on sale.
It's supply and
right?
demand.
Like, everything fucking tanked. And I go, well, it's not going to be like this forever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm thinking 25 years from now, we're not going to be in COVID 25 years from now.
Right.
Okay. People are going to go back out. They're going to go start doing things. Like, this is all the airlines, all like some of the beer companies, all like the food, all these, they all tanked because nobody was traveling, nobody was going to the bar, nobody was going out to restaurants, nobody was buying stuff. Everybody was just cooped up. So I'm like, all right, time to fucking buy.
That's right. Good.
Click, buy. And here we are 4 years later, and everything is way past where it was and then some. And I'm like,
that's right.
Everything was on sale.
That's right. But because everything was on sale, really incentivized every single buyer to come out and buy. Or a lot of buyers, don't get me wrong. A lot of buyers came out to play. And because so many buyers came out, there's not enough inventory to give to them all.
Yeah.
And this is, again, what I was
and
just
now
saying,
we're in the
supply
opposite.
and demand.
Now we're in the opposite, right?
It's believe it or not, there's still a lot of buyers and not enough houses to give them.
Really?
And so if you go around, I'm sure if you go 5-10 minutes away from here, you're going to see some new developments being built, a new apartment complex being built, because if they cannot buy, they have to rent. And now the rental market is high. I have a building, a 180-unit building that I'm the leasing agent for and the leasing manager for. We have renters coming in left and right saying, I cannot buy a house. We have to rent. And then we tell them, yeah, but the 2-bedroom, which used to be $2,300, now it's $2,900. And they're like, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And then we have 3 renters for the same unit. And I'm like, who's going to give us the best offer?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll do $2,950. We'll do move in now. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, we'll give you the first 6 months. Yeah.
So that's the housing market in a nutshell.
Damn.
Supply and demand.
See, that's why we're going to build. That's why we want to build.
But now building. Now all of a sudden labor. Oh, we see how now you can't buy, you can't rent, so you're going to build. And because you're going to build, we're going to go ahead and increase the labor. We're going to increase the material. We're going to increase the housing. We're going to increase this. Now townships are like, oh, we could profit off of this too. Now you're going to have to pay for this fee and that fee and this fee.
Fucking racket.
I
fucking hate permits.
Dude, it's nuts.
I hate
it's like what happened to the old,
politics.
like sometimes I see these things on YouTube where it's just like the guys, like these Bushwick guys, they'll just be in the middle of freaking woods somewhere and they build some log cabin out of like tree limbs and fall. And I'm like, part of me, I said, I want to do that. But you know what's going to happen is the fucking government's going to be like, hey, that building, you don't have a permit. You need to give me tax on this, tax on that. Meanwhile, you built it with your own 2 hands, chopping down.
I'm 10 miles into the woods.
Yeah, but that's what's going to happen. Here's the crazy thing. You can buy a piece of land, right? Buy a piece of land, have 100 acres. Let's call it 100 acres. Okay? Lots and lots of land. Okay? Don't know what your tax is going to be on it. I'm just going to make up a number. I don't know. Let's just say your property tax on 100 acres, call it what? $5,000, $10,000. Let's call it $10,000 a year. Okay, it's a lot of land. You put a freaking house on that. Now you have nothing on it, right? We'll drop it back to like 10 acres so that it's cheaper. 10 acres, your property tax like $500 a year. There's nothing on it. It's just all land. 10 acres, a lot of land. You build a house on that. Say you build a small house, 2-bedroom, like 600 square feet, tiny little freaking cabin. Okay, because it's 600, because now it's a permanent residence. Your tax, the land tax that you were paying, that was $500 a month. Now, guess what? Now you got to pay $8,000 a year because you have a house on there. It's like it's the same piece of fucking land. Nothing changed except I put a cabin on here. Now I got to pay $8,000. Now you go from paying $50 a month to $1,000 a month, just because you have just because you're living there. But if I make that property less than, this is in New York, if I make it less than 400 square feet, 350, just a little hunting cabin, don't have to pay the tax. Is that stupid?
There's loopholes for everything.
If I go 350 and now I add a bathroom that's 10 by 10 for another 100 square feet, got to pay tax. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Gotta pay the tax, man.
Even regardless if I used somebody,
Uncle Sam.
Then I have to get a permit and all this stuff. Like if I go from 395 to 405, 10 square feet, one little, gotta go get that permit, gotta pay. And I go, why? If I bought the piece of land and I just use my bare hands to chop down some trees and build a log cabin, why the hell do I gotta pay Uncle Sam for this?
Capitalism, pros and cons.
Stupid.
Pros and cons.
Just it would be like the old days. Like, you got a piece of land and I got money. Here, I own the piece of land now. Sign off a piece of title. Thank you. I own the land. Now I can do whatever the hell I want with it.
If only we were still back then. But we're in the now, and the now is all sorts of.
I know. It's just
fudged up.
Fudged up.
Well, I also think part of it has to do with our government's gotten way too big. Mm-hmm. So we can go down this rabbit hole, but I think that our government is way too large. So the taxes have gotten out of hand to pay for all this shit that, to be honest, they don't even do anything anyway. Like, I'm paying all these taxes,
Then they just said they can't figure out where $270 million or $1 billion.
That's exactly where
what
it
they
went.
spent it on.
I know exactly where it went.
Yeah,
it went to some politicians' offshore accounts on the Canary Islands somewhere. And anytime they want to go overseas on vacation, I was going to pay for it. Fucking Canary Island Bank.
Yeah, I was just in Europe, and I had a friend, politician friend. I won't name names because more was said than should have been. I'll put it that way. And I was like, how do you know this stuff?
Because I do it.
I'm in it. I see the conversations, and I've worked with some presidents before of different countries, and I've heard the conversations as well in the room. She's like, that money, it goes in places where you don't want it to go.
Yeah. Oh, I don't doubt it.
So
that's why when I see some of these articles, is that, recent study showing that eating fast food and sugar leads to obesity. Researchers spent $10 million. I go, you spent how much to start? I could have told you that. Like, no, because they say, how much is going to cost to do this research? Or how much do you want an extra bonus this year? Oh, well, we already got our bonuses. Oh, okay. Well, let's make a research about some bullshit, and we'll give somebody $500,000 to do the research, but we'll say that it costs. We'll write it down as $10 million as like an expense and put it in our fucking pocket. Happens all the time.
I want to get to that level. I want to get to that level. All right, that's the level I want to get to.
Yeah.
Just making up,
just laundering money for bullshit.
Yeah.
We call it fuck you money.
Yeah. Fuck you, big fuck you money for sure.
So let's get to this. Okay, so I don't even know where we went off from trails.
We went off.
Okay, so let's. So how do we go from real estate? Okay,
Yes.
so you went from real estate into now you're like coaching. Now you're going into speaking, right? When you speak, are you teaching about real estate, or is it more motivational speaking? Is it a combination of both?
When I teach, when I do my events, I speak about personal branding and social media and really content creation within social media, specifically for real estate professionals. But the topics and the lessons that I teach, or the strategies that I teach, they're not just for real estate professionals. I've taught lawyers, I've taught doctors, I've taught mechanics and music producers, right? I've taught people that are celebrities. I've taught them strategies to get more exposure, get more attention, how to create content that actually matters. You know, the 5 things that we talked about, like how to actually include those things into your brand professionally, and so on and so forth. That's what I teach about. So when I was just in Spain, for example, I was speaking at the RE/MAX conference to 1,000+ agents there, and there was over 17 or 18 different countries from all over Europe. So I had to speak slowly and carefully and make sure that they understand.
You spoke English or?
I spoke English because for the most part, a lot of them had headsets to translate in their own language.
Which is a very cool technology, how that they do that. Cool. That's really cool.
So funny enough.
How fast does that translate? Like in real time?
Perfect. So the perfect segue. I was about to say a story. I'm speaking on stage. I'm talking, and all of a sudden, I kind of like throw a joke out there, right? Like a fun way.
The delay.
And all of a sudden, no one's laughing. I'm like, that fucking did not land. So I keep talking, and all of a sudden, in the right corner, I hear, ha ha ha. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh shit, I forgot.
Delay? Oh,
man. How long was the delay?
10 seconds.
10 seconds delay.
Yeah, it was a 10-second delay, so like everyone started laughing. I'm like, okay, so they got it. They just didn't get it on time.
So it did land, just
it landed, but later.
You're like, right?
It was a delay, yeah.
Right? No? Oh, that guy over there. You got it.
It was landed, and then it blew up.
So like I'm talking to all these agents, but there's one thing that everyone's looking for: more attention, more exposure. How do I get more awareness for what I'm doing? Just like you guys, Burn Down Podcast. How do we get more awareness? Me as a real estate agent,
I do want to go down this rabbit hole because I guess
because we were just talking.
We were just talking about
this. Talking about it today.
Oh, sick. Okay.
We get a lot of obstacles in our sector of
such as.
Well, one of the things I don't mean to cut off your train of thought, but like I do want to go down this road because the Burn Down Podcast, we've been doing this for 5 years. Okay,
almost 6.
Almost 6
5 and
years.
a half.
Okay, and
Get it right.
we feel like, now granted, we talked about from a numbers point of view or numbers standpoint, we're top 2% in the world of podcasts, right? If you're looking at how many downloads do you get for every episode in the first couple of days, in the first week, we're in the top 2%. Okay. However, straight cutter, yeah. However, we feel like we've hit a wall. We feel like we're not getting the traction and the growth that we deserve, because they always say when you start something, you gotta just keep at it, keep posting, consistency. And we're like, well, we've been doing that for 5.5 years, posting content an episode every single week, reels every single week. We've done YouTube short, we've done all sorts of stuff, and I go, where's the growth? Like, we've had some growth on YouTube. We're up to 60,000 plus, but it really came from like a handful of shorts that when shorts started coming out, we did a couple of like celebrity shorts where it's like Arnold smoking a cigar, Danny DeVito smoking a cigar, Joe Rogan smoking a cigar, and Ron Perlman smoking a cigar. And we came up with these a little bit of like shorts, and they really hit. So we got a lot of growth, and we're still getting growth from those shorts. But it's kind of bittersweet because it's not us. Like, we're not getting the growth for us. We're getting the growth because it's a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we feel like we've hit this wall. And then on social media, it's like a blatant wall. If anything, it's like we hit a wall and now we're coming back a little bit. And I'm like, well, what could we do to get past that? And are we missing something? Like, because we've seen other accounts that have come in that are less than a year old, cigar accounts, and they posting strictly cigar, how to smoke a cigar, how to do this. And we're like, but how are they growing so fast? They've gotten 500,000 subscribers already. And I go, and they're strictly cigar stuff. Because one of the things is that there's ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, which Instagram and YouTube don't like. And so I'm like, but how are they growing so fast when it's strictly cigars? Like, we've tried not putting the word cigar in there. We've tried going around it, like you said, loopholes, not smoking a cigar in the thing, not really lighting it, not showing the act of smoking, just kind of even doing, instead of saying the word cigar, we'll say stogie, trying to like do these little things to maybe trick the algorithm, and none of it's work. Meanwhile, you got these guys that come in, how to smoke a cigar, you should smoke cigars, this is that, and they're blowing up. And I go, what, are we missing something? What are we doing wrong? So it's like when you talk about, how to really grow your brand and the things that you teach can be implemented across different industries. I want to go into this because it's like we've hit this wall, and I'm like, what could we do?
The wall, I think we really hit. Like on social media, we do all right. Right? Is my microphone on? Mm-hmm. Can you hear me? Social media. I mean, like me and him have been at the same follower count. We've lost followers in the last few years, but we gain, we lose. We gain, we lose. We gain, but
it doesn't go anywhere.
It's been stagnant, right? So, but we get thousands and thousands of views. We get 10,000 every once in a while. So that's all right. Where I have difficulty and frustration is with the podcast on YouTube, because we have all these great guests. We have all these long-form videos of podcasts. And on YouTube, like you see, I like it's kind of like an imposter syndrome type of thing, because we have 60,000, 70,000 subscribers. Yeah, we get thousands of views on shorts. But then you go to our YouTube, we just hit 1,000 views with Nicole, but that was our first 1,000-view podcast. And I don't know how fucking long.
Yeah, like I said, the views, like the subscribers, came from a handful of shorts that were not of us.
And we don't talk about cigars. Like, we're smoking a cigar, but we're talking about real estate. We're talking about growth, entrepreneurship. Yep. So it's fucking confusing, honestly. It's
a little frustrating because we feel like we're putting in the effort. We really are.
It's like a therapy session right now.
Yeah, we're not getting like
Dr. Stulak.
And granted, listen, like I don't want to say. And I don't want to sound like we're not grateful, because we are. We're very grateful that we get to do this, right? Not many people get to do exactly what we're doing. Light a cigar every single week, and we get to talk with each other. We get to meet new people. We're doing events. We have our own cigars, and that stuff is great. But it's like the social media aspect of it. It's like it's such a wall, and it's really it really hurts. It hurts your ego a little bit. It hurts your hurts your feelings. You're like, I'm putting all this freaking work in, and I'm not getting anything. It's like, does YouTube and Instagram just not like us?
Do they not want us to
It's not that. It's not that. If we're talking numbers, just the way we started this podcast, you mentioned that there's, what, how many? 650 posts, 700 posts a second?
Yeah.
That was not like that 10 years ago when Instagram was just born. Well, call it 14 years ago when Instagram was born. Back then, you were one of 500 content creators in the world, and now you're one of 500 million content creators in the world. You're one of 70,000 other podcasts in this world. You are no longer one of a few. You're one of a many. So how are you going to stick out in front of those many? How are you going to gain the attention? So it's not that you're doing something wrong. It's not. Listen, every listener that's listening right now or watching this show, they probably go through a very similar feeling of discouragement, of I don't know if it's working, I don't think social media is right for me. No, it's not that. You have to, I hate this word, but it's very true, consistency. You have to truly bat many times to make sure that you have that right one, or the kick, right? I got to practice my kick 1,000 times, not 1,000 kicks once.
Yeah.
Like, you have to truly practice 1,000 times to really get it out there. and people will eventually understand your repetition, the theme that you're putting out there. They will know you for that. So if you're way too generic with the content, people aren't going to understand what they're really consuming from you. Like, first you're doing this and then you're doing that. What are you even? Like, why should I spend my 5 seconds, 10 minutes of my time, of my life to give it to you? For what? What are you giving to me? And again, going back to those 5 things, is it sexy? Am I getting some type of, oh, wow, that feels good? Or, you know what, that was so funny. I want to watch it again and send it to my best friend, Eric. Like, I want to see what he's, right? Like, I'm going to send it to my dad. There's relevancy in that. And so I say, when it comes to content creation, it's got to be shareable, right? So without shareability, that aspect or that variable is super important today. So you got to create something funny. Why is it that when we see a guy like Jake Paul, for example, let's talk about Jake Paul. Let's talk about this whole Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight.
Was rigged.
100%.
Fucking rigged, dude.
But it was relevant. It was 2 big brands, and it was a social media guy, for crying out loud. A guy that was creating little 6-second vines all of a sudden followed the steps of his brother and started posting on content very consistently in a funny way, and just realized how to get more money out of it than others and started pumping more money into it, and then got to the point where he is. But that consistency factor never, ever left the table for the formula. And a lot of people give up. And that's where all of a sudden it goes downhill. Or, oh, why am I stagnant? Are you posting 10 times, a week? Are you posting once every year? Like, what exactly is it that you're doing in that aspect?
Because that's what we struggle with is we have been consistent. Mm-hmm. We have been posting. I mean, this is episode 250 plus, yep. Right? And we've been posting every day. Like, okay, maybe not every single day, but we post. We're in the stories. We're posting a lot of stuff. So one of the things that we've actually branched into now, because we thought about where the ATF is a real thing, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. They don't. Meanwhile, don't even get me started where you can have a 16-year-old girl shaking her ass on Instagram and they're like, oh, it's totally fine. Or you can have, freaking Cardi B saying my wet ass pussy, totally fine. You got, what's her name, Beyonce jumping on cop cars saying that, we should march and defund the police, totally fine. But me smoking a stogie in a suit is like the worst thing in the world.
You got to push the limits. You have to push the limits a little bit nowadays for people to say, whoa, that was a lot, but I'm interested. Like, what is okay, I'm paying attention.
Maybe I have to light up a cigar with $100 bill.
For example, isn't that a felony? Shit like that. It's things like that.
Is lighting money on fire a misdemeanor? I think
it could be. I think it could be I think you got a fine.
I think it's a crime.
So then go on Amazon, get a fake $100 bill,
yeah,
and the viewer is not going to know if it's real or not, right? They're going to be like, oh my god, right? Why not?
Well, one of the things that we've gone to now is X. We've gotten over to X because X is the number one platform for news and information now.
Yes.
And there's no regulations. There's very little regulations. You can't post, obviously you can't post murder and misdemeanors and things like that, or felonies. Like, you can't post yourself robbing a bank. Mm-hmm. But you can post pretty much anything you want. So we've gotten over to X now, and X has got its own creator platform and its own thing, and so maybe that's another avenue to...
Well, let me hit you with another avenue. If we're talking avenues, the second part of my conversation, of this discussion, is something that not many do. And this is what I teach. This is what I just spoke in Spain about. This is what I just spoke in Europe about. And everyone looked at me with eyes wide open, saying, I've never thought of that, Ed. Wow, that is so smart. Not that it's smart. I'm just doing the basic fundamental things of any business, and that's cold outreach. That's building and being personable with the audience that I've built up already. Mm-hmm. So, for example, what do you mean, Ed? So when I get a follower, for example, let's just call her Samantha. Samantha just follows me. Samantha is getting a personal video message from me saying, hey, what's up, Samantha? It's Ed. I just wanted to personally reach out and say thank you for your follow. Thank you for your love and support. And if there's anything under the sun, I don't know what that could be, but if there is anything under the sun that I can do for you, please let me know. Send me a video back or send me a text. I'm here for you. Thanks so much for the love. Bye. And it's little things like that are going to make sure that one thing that you talked about before doesn't happen. Hey, we lost followers. Everyone loses followers because they eventually do not have any more love and support to give, because it's like, why the hell am I giving you? You're not giving me anything back. I want more. We get the Apple 4. We want the 5. Give me the 6. Give me the 7. Give me
Yeah.
the 8.
Yeah.
It's never enough. So why are we looking at each other like, oh my God, well, I've established my business. We're good. I've built up a podcast. We're good. I've built up a social media following or a brand or a business. We're good. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You have to
No, it's
evolve.
very true.
Literally on my way here, I was unfortunately driving, but I was in traffic. So I had my Instagram open and I'm looking, and guess who just evolved their brand?
Who?
Guess who just changed their logo and the look of their brand? Jaguar.
Really?
If you look it up, Jaguar now has font. Their whole thing is now.
By the way, I'm
font.
glad that you said Jaguar and not Jaguar. Because
This
I
is
have friends
Jaguar.
that say Jaguar, and
Don't be friends with them.
I'm like, it's not Jaguar, dude. It's
Those are the people that say pillow instead of pillow.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm like, it's not Jaguar. They go, it's Jaguar.
Mm.
Like when they
Jaguar.
Jacksonville Jaguars, I go, it's not. It's not
It's not a
It's not Guire. It's Guar. Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Jag. Like you say it actually the best. Jaguar.
Jaguar.
That's like you don't see the people at the company saying it's Jaguar. It's actually Jaguar.
It sounds too like kind of redneck.
Yeah. So Jaguar just changed their whole. Now they have a typography as their logo. Tesla is typography. Wendy's is typography. Apple is the Apple, but they also have. Everyone is going towards this modern look. So little variables, even like that, they are changing their logo, which they have to because they have to adapt to what works today. Dunkin' Donuts. They went from Dunkin' Donuts to Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And it's just Dunkin' in orange font. It's being simplified. So I'm just talking about literally a logo right now, but that's what catches people's attention. Like, oh, they've changed. Why did they change? Oh, they're more modern
We actually
now.
talked about changing our logo to just that, just BDP.
For example, why not? I love that. I always know, like when
Just because right now our logo is this right here, where it's like us with Burn Down Podcast.
Mhm.
But I feel like, I mean, we did that because it's like we want to put the face to the name, right?
Yep.
And then it also shows like Burn Down Podcast. People are like, what's the Burn Down Podcast? But you see two gentlemen smoking cigars. Like, okay, I get it. But BDP, it's like it's simple, and you can brand a lot of things with that. Like you can brand the hat with BDP. You can't brand the hat with this.
Yeah.
So in my book, I actually talk about 5 things that you have to constantly evolve. Chapter 2, fundamental elements of your brand. And in here, I talk about brand uniformity. I also talk about brand colors. I talk about the theme of your brand and so on and so forth. But I also talk about brand evolution. And so brand evolution, and if we scroll here throughout the pages, I will eventually find it.
If you look at a lot of the logos from the past, like they've gone from very, very intricate logos to the most simplified things now. Let me see that. Actually, I have one here.
So page 51, I put up a few logos that have changed and evolved over time. So Dunkin' Donuts being one of those examples.
Yeah.
Kia.
Yeah, the
for
Apple
example.
one. The Apple one is crazy.
So little things like that, you have to change and evolve over time. And if people don't evolve their brands, it's just going to stay stagnant, and hence why, oh my God, I've not grown my brand. This is why artists,
Yeah, that's
music,
crazy.
right? Musicians go from a specific genre to all of a sudden a sound. You know, for example, what's his name? Fred again and again and again and again. Do you know that DJ name? He's backed by Skrillex. He's this super authentic, like really corny, like super humble kind of DJ. People love him for his simplicity. He has a whole theme to his music, and every single song is titled after, I believe he writes journals, from what I understand from his story. He writes journals, and every single journal that he's ever written, he made a song about. And so, like, it's about his best friend, or maybe
that's pretty cool.
a breakup he went through, or something in
more
life, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what he's now become. But back then, if you listen to his older music, it wasn't really that. Now he's got a sound. Now he's got a vibe. Just like Skrillex has a vibe. Just like Metallica has a vibe. You, as your brand, you have to have that consistent thematic brand. But you also have to evolve it and know when to evolve it.
Yeah.
You can't constantly stay stagnant.
Well, that's why one of the things, like, it might be time for us to
Maybe it's time to evolve.
make a little change, and which is in part why we've kind of gone on to X too. It's like, all right, listen, it's another avenue that we maybe bring some of the content and bring it over to X and try to. But I'm glad we started talking about this, because we always talk about it. We talk every single day, and we're like,
I think the biggest part though is what you mentioned before. What a lot of people don't do, but we definitely do, is engage.
We do.
Ever since I started my Instagram, I respond to almost nearly every DM.
comment.
Every comment.
Everything.
We would even at one point we would do the Gary Vaynerchuk deposit. What is it? Deposit
the $1.80?
$1.80 a day. Yeah. So we'd go through it. This is when hashtags were popular. We would find a hashtag, cigars. We would find all the posts. Oh, this guy Ed Stulak posted a cigar. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to like a bunch of his posts. I'm going to comment on him, and then I send him a DM and follow him. And then we got a lot of community and follow back from doing that for a straight year. But
so I call that follow farming, which is also one of my chapters. I call it follow farming. So AKA Gary V's 180, right? $1.80 strategy. Farming. You've heard of the word farming before?
Maybe not.
Like sending out postcards, calling door knockers or door knock, whatever it is, right? Like just constantly being in front of the audience.
Planting seeds.
Planting seeds until one of them blossoms, right? And they finally sprout and finally something happens. And then someone calls you and says, you know what, I'm ready to buy or I'm ready to sell or I'm ready to invest into whatever you're doing. So farming. So I call it follow farming. Same concept. I go into the hashtags and I engage with my local audience. I'm not really trying to get a following out in Indonesia or Korea. That's not my following. If it happens, cool. But my ideal following is New Jersey. I want homeowners, home buyers. I want real estate professionals to be following me. So I go after them. I am proactive. I don't wait for them to find me. I go after them and I find them. And I start conversations with them. So what do? For example, I'll reach out to someone on Instagram. I'll type in the hashtag Somerville, New Jersey. That's where I live. So I'm in Somerville, New Jersey, and I find a local, let's call it, bakery. I'll reach out to that bakery. I'll be like, hey, what's up? It's Ed. I just stumbled upon your page. I see that you're posting some cool pictures and got some cool cakes and this and that. Listen, I don't know if there's anything I can ever do, but from local to local, if there's anything I can ever help out with, I'm here. Boom, and I send it. Sometimes I get a response, sometimes I don't. And if I don't, no problem. I'll go the extra mile. I'll go to their bakery and I'll knock on their door. I'll go inside. I'll be like, hey, who manages the social media here? They're like, oh, John in the back. I'm like, oh, go get John. And John comes out. I'm like, John, I reached out to you, man. So good to connect with you. I'm that guy that sent you that. Yeah, that's me. And we just build rapport that way. And it does take longer, don't get me wrong. But that one new follower, that one new connection I just got is going to go the long way. Mm-hmm. This is not someone that is going to unfollow me in a month from now. Like that, they'll remember, oh, that's that guy that came to our shop, or that's that guy that did that one thing.
Definitely.
That kind of, we were doing that with, and we fell off a little bit, but it's a same idea of, with our cigars, is we would reach out to, and the thing is with us, where the market is vast, right? Like we can sell our cigars anywhere in the country, and our show can go anywhere in the world, and it has. But what we've done is we'll find, I'll just type in cigar lounge, Alabama, and then it pops up with a couple of accounts from cigar lounges in Alabama, and I'll click the cigar lounge. And what I've done is I'll click the cigar lounge, you go to their page, and I'll look at like some of the recent posts. And sometimes you look at the posts and it's like posted 6 years ago. I'm like, all right, they're not even on social media. If they have an email, I'll click the email and send them. But if they don't, I'm like, all right, they're not even on there. But sometimes you find a lounge that's active. So I'll go in the DMs and I've sent a thing like, hey, my name's Justin. I'm a co-host of the Burn Down Podcast. We've had a lot of guests and blah, blah, blah. We recently came out with a couple of cigars. Would love to send you some samples. If you're interested, please let me know. And we've gotten some people that say like, yeah, I would love to, because everybody loves free shit. It's like, I would love to have some samples. And it costs us, like less than like $8 to send one of each and a couple of cards, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we'll send them the samples and be like, hey, I sent you the samples. If you enjoy the cigars, great. Maybe we can talk about getting our cigars on your shelves. And if you don't just, no worries, enjoy the cigars. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten a handful of new customers that are now repeat, like the one Cloud 33 in Pittsburgh, right? They've ordered, probably 10 to 15 boxes already.
Shout out to Cloud 33.
We've gotten a bunch of new. So to your point is we should start doing that with everything. Just be like, hey, listen, would love to, we're the Burn Down Podcast. I know you have the Cigar Lounge. If you're interested in listening to our show, here's the link. We'd also love to send you some samples. If you're interested, please let me know.
So
send them some shit.
So I'll give you a story off of that too, right? Relevant story. Part of my business also is attracting, or we call it recruiting, right? Recruiting agents to my company. So the company I work for is called Real Broker, REAL, right? And
Does it stand for anything?
Just real. Real
I
broker.
feel like the RE could stand for real estate.
Just real. Like real estate. Just we call it real.
Real.
So part of our business model allows us, an agent like myself, to attract other agents to the company. And if they come to the company and they start selling, we start making money. So it's this whole, in a sense, like MLM, right? This whole concept. It makes sense, though.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
That's
network marketing.
What it is. Network marketing, right? However, it makes sense. It makes sense for the business model that we're in because of the things that we offer and so on and so forth. Not going to go too deep into that, but meaning, why am I even talking about this? Because there was one agent that I really wanted to attract to the company. She was with a different company, and I knew that she had a team of 10 agents. So I'm like, that could be a big payday if she comes over. That could be $40,000 a year extra. Who doesn't want that? So how do I stick out? How do I get her over, right? Because there's other companies reaching out to her. There's other companies that are offering her incentives left and right. What do I do? So I took the personable approach and also the authentic approach. The authentic approach was more so, let me get to know her and see what she actually truly cares about. And then one day, probably 8 months of trying to get her over, I was like, you know what? I got to do something different because obviously nothing's working. So I was like, you know what? I know her family, her kids, they love volleyball. They love Wisconsin Wildcats, volleyball specifically.
Oh my gosh.
Right? The women's volleyball
Super
team.
specific.
Wisconsin's Wild? The Wild?
Yeah.
I thought they were the Badgers.
Maybe Badgers. I don't know. I don't know
Doesn't
volleyball.
matter.
I know hockey.
I don't know.
That's my thing.
What's the hockey team?
Next question.
Doesn't matter. Whatever.
they got
The Wisconsin volleyball team.
Right, so I know that little piece of information. So what do? I go on eBay. And I type in the team, right? Wisconsin Badgers, let's call it, volleyball team. And I find a bunch of merch from their team, but I specifically find a shoe that is signed by one of the players. I'm thinking, oh, that could be cool. I buy the shoe, comes to my house, I write a letter, and I send it to her. And I say, hey, the letter essentially said, hey, this is for your girls. I hope they enjoy it. This is just me to get my foot in the door with you to try to build something together.
That's punny.
Nice.
That's punny.
You like that. You like that punny shit.
And it worked. Because she said, you know what, like that was so genuine and different, and you got my attention. And I've been doing things like that as well. For example, I have a developer that I've been trying to really get to work some business with, right? And I met with them once, twice, 3 times. Like, what else do I got to do to really get them over? So I go to Macy's, I buy a tie, and I go to an embroidery place, and I put their logo, and I put my logo underneath on the tie, and I ship them the tie. And on there, it says, hey, hoping to tie the knot in 2024 with you.
This shit is sick. That shit is sick.
So I feel like you can use ChatGPT, but give me 15 puns that I could, with 15 objects.
I love it.
It's just ways to expose yourself in a different way, right? Get out there in a different way. So with all these stories, they're cute and they're crafty and they're unique, they're punny, but at the end of the day, what is the theme or what is the lesson learned? The lesson learned is you got to be different. You have to do something that most won't. So what is that? I find personability and being authentic and just being proactive is my best strategy personally. I don't lose a lot of followers as much as I gain followers today because of that strategy. They're going to feel really bad if they unfollow me. They'll be like, damn, he did all this. Like,
yeah.
For me to unfollow, retainment is a huge variable that people neglect.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
Though it's important to learn, how do I get 100,000 followers? How do we get 100,000 views? I would say focus on the thing that you have built up already and just make sure you nurture it because they've given you love and support. Give it back. Give it back to them. So that's my 2 cents.
What I was thinking of is while we've been talking, we're talking about how to. It's kind of along the lines of network marketing, and I don't want to say that word. It's like
Justin is scarred.
It's like
scarred.
Scarred.
Stories.
I was in it for a little while, and it was just not like.
Who has?
It's funny. Like on a side note, there's things that come into your life that are meant to stay, and then there's things that come into your life that are meant to teach you something and then leave, right? And that was one of the things that taught me about the positive mental attitude books and reading and the words of affirmation and visualization, things of that sort, right? Like connecting with the people, because one of the things like you have to make a connection and blah blah blah, and it's like, but I didn't really like the business side of it. Like I understood it. I was like, listen, I get it, right? I get it. You try to build a team, and then whatever they build, you start It's multi-level marketing. I get it. It's like, but I just didn't like the fact that you're selling. And they're like, no, you're not selling. I said, no, you're selling. You're selling. And they go, no, you're just trying to make a connection with somebody. I said, well, why are you trying to make that connection? Why are you talking? Like, you're not just striking a conversation with somebody to have a conversation with somebody. You're doing it in hopes of making a connection and then what they call opening a door to maybe let them come in and
getting your foot in the door.
I'm like, you're selling this business model. And they're like, no. I was like, listen, we're going to agree to disagree, but you are, right? Everybody's selling something. So anyway, but that was one of the things that came into my life. I took what I needed from it and then it kept going. It wasn't for me. And I kept the things that I learned from it. But to the level of, the level of the multi-level marketing, an idea that just sprung on us is how can we kind of give back to people that love our brand? People send us all the time. They love the cigars. They love the Diligent. They love the Blueprint. They're constantly posting about it. Maybe one of the things that we can do, and this is unofficial, I'm just spitballing here, is say, hey, do you want to be like like, for lack of a better term, like a rep? Or like a brand, an ambassador of our cigars. It's like for every new client that you get 10% of whatever they buy. So you love the cigar so much, you have a local lounge. If you can make the connection with the local lounge and they wind up buying boxes from us, you get 10% of whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So if Eric likes the cigar, he has a local lounge XYZ, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get them into that lounge. He goes in, says, hey, I love this new cigar. They're a show. Wondering if maybe you want to get some samples. I can connect you with them. I know them. They make a connection. Lounge XYZ says, you know what? I really like that. Would like to buy 5 boxes. Okay, great. Now Eric would get 10% of the 5 boxes that they bought. And now Eric is like a partner in that lounge. So anytime they buy stuff, we send a check to Eric. And this way, we have people that are on the ground that like our brand,
ambassador
that
program.
Are trying to promote the branding, because we're only 2 guys. We can only do so much. I can only send so many DMs. Yep. I have a 9 to 5. I can only spend so many DMs, right? Yep. Before my wife yells at me to get off the fucking phone, right? So if we can have other people that you enjoy the cigar, see if you can get it into your lounge. And then listen, if the lounge grows big enough where they want to do an event, anything we sell at the event, you're the connection. You are the for till the end of time, you get the 10% of whatever that lounge does.
And why not incentivize them even more? The person that sells the most, can get
you get a bonus at the end of the year.
Yeah, of a paid vacation. We'll take you
to the bonus at the end of the year, right?
Whatever it is.
You get a free box of each cigar at the end, whatever it is.
I like this. I like where this is going.
We say, hey, listen, you get 10%, and then if they buy up to a certain amount, if they buy more, you get 15%. If they buy more, you get you can get different levels. I'm just thinking of different ways you can give people. You give back to them. Thank you so much for supporting us. We would like to give back to you. Here's a way. If you can hook us up with somebody.
Yeah, that's a fucking great idea.
You
know why? Because think about it. We're talking off topic. We got Ed here, but my thought real quick on it.
We can still go. We're only an hour and a half in, man.
Let's go.
Oh, let's fucking ride,
we
baby.
can ride.
Kids.
We can ride.
Fucking ride into the sunset. But before we had the cigars, right? We were just a podcast. How many companies would approach us and say, "Hey, would you want to be an ambassador? Hey, would you want to be a partner with us? And we'll give you a commission." Mm-hmm. So
that's exactly what that is.
That's exactly what. And I was just like, I don't want to sell your product. I have no attachment to it. Mm-hmm. But that's a great idea because. Like I said, we're only 2 people, 2-man shop. We can only do so much. It's a great way, and the way you build, I'm assuming you would agree, is the word of mouth, right?
Word of mouth is one of the best ways to market yourself.
And it's simple. It's just a check. It's just like, listen, he made a connection with this account. We come up with a spreadsheet. Eric, here's your name, here's your address, and here's a list of the accounts that you've got. And at the end of the month, we'll say, okay, we have this account bought this, and this account bought this.
Do that. There are cigar brokers,
and they bought like X amount of accounts. And back at the end of the month, how much is that? Write a check, send it to that address. Bang. And we go through the whole list. Yep. And if you have 15, 20 people, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be your local. If you make the connection with you found a contact somewhere and you sent the text, hey, I'm putting you 2 together in a chat, you've made the connection. And we'll take it from there. We'll send the samples. But if you made the connection to say yes, and we can send samples, now if they don't buy anything, you don't get anything. But if you promote like, hey, listen, we'd love to, you got to get this cigar in. They're great.
But let me simplify the process even more, though. It's not quantity. You get quality people to be doing this. So you don't have to get 20 people to try to sell 20 cigars. Yeah. Get one person to sell 20 cigars.
Yeah.
So, for example, my tailor, his name is Oscar. I've been working with him for about 8 years now. Oscar reaches out to me on Instagram one day, and he says, man, I see you're a realtor. I see you rocking these suits. But I feel like you're getting them from Macy's, huh? I'm like, yeah, that's all I can afford. Like, I'm not selling.
What's wrong with Macy's?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
It's not about who makes it. It's about how it fits.
Right. Which fit half-ass. But he saw that, and he reached out to me. He's like, dude, let's consult. Let me consult you, see what is going to be a good fit. We meet at a Barnes & Noble. This is my second year of real estate, so I'm not making money. I made $20,000 my second year of real estate. Chump change. And he comes to me, sits me down, opens up the books and the fabrics, and is like, all right, I can get you this suit and this fabric and these buttons and this fit. $3,000. I'm like,
yeah, I only made 20 grand.
You got to play that off like that doesn't hurt. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That's all you charge. Bro?
That's like what's his name? What's the comedian? He's like, when you're on a first date and you get that check, he goes, regardless, you take a first look at that check. Regardless, you got to just close. You got to take that on the chin. Yeah. However much it is, you got to take that like it doesn't hurt. It could be $50, $5,000. You got to take it.
So he hits me with that number, and immediately I'm like,
your butt just,
yeah, it clinches, right? And I'm like, it's all right, but listen, let me throw this at you. So I tell him, I'm like, listen, I had about 8,000 followers at the time when he talked to me about this. So I'm like, Oscar, would it make sense to get $3,000 from me? Or would it make sense if I bring you 6 people that will bring you $3,000 each if you make me a suit for free? And he sat back and he was like, let's go. Like, he didn't even think about it. He was like, done, let's go. And he's been making me suits ever since then.
Damn.
And I've brought him so many clients now. So many people DM me saying, dude, where do you buy your suits? Oscar, hey, here's his number. Call him. And now he's getting a bunch of people reaching out to him saying, dude, I see Ed rocking them. He rocks them all the time.
Yeah.
Because I actually love what I do. So in terms of quantity, he can have a bunch of me's. But he only has one me, let's call it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm trying to humble that. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best salesman in the world, but a lot of my pictures.
No, but you
suits,
love his shit, so you got no problem just talking about other people.
And so if someone loves this shit, and you see that they promote nothing but this, or like that's their whole brand is just cigars and luxury and lifestyle, like this fits. Like, why wouldn't I? Like a guy like Tony Peck, like a guy like that, for example. Yo, Tony, we're gonna give you a bunch of stuff for free. Just promote it a lot. If it makes sense for your brand, obviously. I'm not trying to pressure you or shove it down your throat. But if it makes sense and you like it, let's talk about a partnership. Yeah, we should do. I mean, that's like, it's kind of two different ways. You can look at like the ambassador stuff where you can contact people that we've seen posting a lot of our stuff, that enjoy our stuff, that have a bit of a following, that are in the industry. Like, hey, listen, if you want to be an ambassador, we can work out some sort of commission thing. But also, if you have people that have because some of those people that might just be a small following, they might just be at a local lounge and you can hook us up and get us in there. But the other side is you can find people that have a cigar page and say, hey, listen, like, I would love to send you a whole kit. I'll send you, 5 blueprints, 5 diligents, a cutter, a lighter, an ashtray, a hat. I'll send you a media package if you would make like 5 posts about it, or just, and work a deal. Because people do that with us all the time. Now we have a brand, like, hey, we're trying to get the word out there. You have 100,000 followers. Can I send you a whole package for a couple of, because the package will cost us whatever. Like, so maybe as we take a little portion of our inventory and say, this is what we're going to write this off. This is a marketing expense. We're going to take, 250 cigars, and that's going to be used for sending samples to lounges, for sending samples to influencers to try to promote the brand, sending, we'll get some of the accessories. We'll say, out of the accessories, we'll take 10%. So whatever we make, out of all the stuff we make, 10% of it, put it to the side. That's what we're going to use to promote. Nice. Send it to people. Try to get commission. Try to get exposure. Try to get marketing.
Are we doing a 2025 business plan right now with Ed?
Sounds like it.
All right.
I'm
just saying, because it could be because it's another way, because it goes back into, with Instagram, with Facebook, with YouTube. With YouTube, you don't really run ads, but Instagram and Facebook, you can run advertisements. So if you have a brand and you want to push your brand, you can set up an ad and pay to run the ad. And then Instagram is like, well, this person's paying me, so I'm going to show their content over somebody who's not paying me, right? It's a business model. I'm going to show the stuff that people are paying me for. But with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, you can't do that. You cannot promote tobacco. So how do you do it? Go with influencer marketing. Maybe send it to somebody because they can post whatever they want. Maybe go on X as well. Since X has no regulations, find some big cigar accounts on X. Find some big lifestyle people on X, like a Patrick Bet David. If we could ever get in there, be like, hey, would love to send you a free box of both of these if you could talk about it on your podcast.
Even not even asking for permission, just more so a guy
just sending it and say, hey, here's a gift.
Yes,
Whatever you do with it, you do with it.
Yeah.
That's the approach I like.
So for example, like a little box where you hold cigars and it just has Burn Down Podcast on there or the blueprints or whatever it is, right? And you just send it to them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get a box, an empty box. And you're like, what the fuck do I do with this? And then maybe 2 weeks later you actually send them some cigars to fill it with. And then maybe you send them a lighter. And you say, hey.
Just keep sending them some shit.
Yeah,
eventually they're going to post it.
They're going to be like, why are they sending me? And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, over the past month we've supplied you with the full kit to smoke cigars. Hopefully you enjoy that. And maybe you do something else. I don't know what that might be.
I feel the wheels turning. I feel like this could be another, this could kind of get us to the next level here.
Get the right people to talk
because
about
it. Because it's when I think of like that.
Let's table this conversation off the podcast because people don't want to listen to talking about our business plan.
No, maybe it helps them. Maybe they're struggling.
Someone.
Maybe they're struggling just like us.
This is influencer marketing topic.
I think so. I don't know if people want to hear that. That's just.
All right. Okay. So let's go into the book
take.
because we nice picture by the way, dude.
Thank you.
That's
you got one of the.
You know what that is right there? That's BDE.
Yeah, that's big dick energy.
That's big dick energy right there.
I'll get that.
Depends how warm it is.
That's DJ Footlong right there.
That's DJ Stulak.
Anyway, I want to talk about, so your book is called Expose Yourself, written by a social media luminary who discovered real estate, how to build a personal brand that attracts millions and gets you seen. Okay,
My first question. So, what is a luminary?
So we should just,
I don't know that word.
Read this. A luminary, like
influencer,
advocate,
person.
like Bright Star.
Yeah, call it.
Big word. I don't know big words.
Where did I get that word from? Google.
Yeah. Thesaurus.
Synonyms.
I put in the word bright.
Synonyms.
Right, yeah. So tell us about, because maybe we should read this, because this is literally how to build a personal brand that attracts millions, gets you seen. We're struggling with that. So let's But I want to talk, how did you get, what made you think, okay, I want to write a book? Yeah. And then
how long did it take you?
How long did it take you? How'd you come up with the name? Like, how'd you come up with the topics? Tell us about this book here.
Yeah, Expose Yourself took me 3 years to write. And it was a buddy of mine that I connected with through. Do you remember the name Ty Lopez?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, he was the guy who was always in his garage.
He's like, you see this bookcase?
Yeah,
here in my garage.
Yeah.
Oh, don't mind the blue Lamborghini. You see the bookcase? I read all those. You want to be a millionaire? Read those too.
Yeah, here in my garage. That was the first YouTube advertisement I've ever seen that was filmed with a phone and not a quality camera. Was Ty Lopez in his garage with the Lambo in the back and the bookcase.
Yeah, he said, hey, I'm in my garage. Don't mind my Lamborghini.
Right.
But all these books. Yeah. And he's like, really like long pause. I'm like, get to the point, man. What are you doing? I'm like, this is so weird.
And you know what's important? Knowledge.
And you want to know what's even more important? That advertisement worked because we're still talking about it.
Amen.
100%.
Right?
Amen.
We might have been like, that's so fucking stupid, but guess what? We're talking about it now.
It's still imprinted in the forefront of my brain.
Yeah.
A decade later, we're still talking about it. That's insane.
How simple.
Dude, that's why one of the best advertisements was the three iguanas. Bud, why, sir? Right? One of the best advertisements ever because
have you ever seen that?
Bud.
Oh, it's a classic.
It's a classic advertisement. It's for Budweiser. It's just 3 lizards on like a branch, and one of them goes Bud, the other one goes why, the other one goes Zer. And that's a whole fucking advertisement. Bud, why, Zer. Every time you think of Budweiser, that's what you think.
So Ty Lopez, we think of him here in my garage.
That's it, man.
So Ty Lopez throws an event in New York City, and I go to this event because self-development, right? I'm thinking, I want to be better in this life and really pursue bigger things. So I go to Ty Lopez because he's one of the guys online that is just really doing it well.
How much did that run you?
I don't remember. But I went to that event. A few $100 maybe.
Not like a 10 grand.
No, not a Grant Cardone thing.
Yeah, or Tony Robbins. It's like $20,000 for the nosebleeds.
Not that. No. That was like $150.
You got to get on that level of public speaking, man.
One day, maybe. I got to do something different than
you do one event, you retire.
Yeah, right? So anyway, I go to this event and I meet this guy, Ron. So Ron Pascal, big shout out to him because he is the one that helped me start this book. He DMs me one day. He lives in Colombia. He DMs me. He's like, yo, dude, you have a brand, but you don't have a book. You need a book. And I've kind of helped others write a book. Are you down? I'm like, I am down. I just don't know how to English correctly. So, like, how the fuck am I supposed to write a book?
I don't know how to English correctly.
That's a good way of putting it.
So I'm like, I don't know. Okay, who am I to write a book, right? And he's like, dude, I'll help you write it because I've helped others. Like, I'll just put it together, and you are the one that writes it, but like I'm the one. Okay, fine, the glue. Okay, cool. So 2.5-ish years into the process of writing the book, you should see, like, he flew in from Colombia to New York City. Him and I stayed the weekend at a hotel, and literally the whole room was covered in Post-it notes all over the room. It was just like chapter 1, chapter 8, chapter 30, and so on and so forth. And we're going in and we're just putting everything together. And for 2.5 years, the book was called Real Estate Fame. Stupidest name ever.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
It's pretty generic.
That's one of those names that just blends in with everything.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, nah, like it's fame, getting fame in real estate, but it's not catchy. And so for another year afterwards, I wasn't okay with the name. So
the book was already done.
The book was pretty much done.
How long did it take you?
3-ish years to like really put together.
No, okay, 3 years.
Yeah,
okay.
3-ish years to like put together, and then a lot of tweaking, and my OCD kicked in. I was like, nah, I don't like this chapter or that one. I got to change it and improvise. And now
it's one of those things where you probably wrote it and you let it sit for a while, and then come back, read it, and you're like, the fuck was I thinking?
Yes,
happens a lot. I do that with emails, dude. You write up an email, like an angry one. You're like, no, motherfucker, you won't talk to me like, oh, you're like,
let the emotions out.
Come back.
ChatGPT, make my email more professional.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally at the tail end of writing the book and getting it out there, ChatGPT was in
Oh, I know.
I'm like, fuck. Everyone's going to think I wrote it through ChatGPT.
Dude.
And I'm like,
but you know what? Who cares? Even if you did.
So even in my caption, in the caption with the book over my crotch, in the caption I wrote, this was not done through ChatGPT. This was done through me and 3 years of writing and putting my thoughts together of strategies that have actually worked over the years in my business.
And
so,
listen,
anyway.
go back. I don't want to cut you off, but go back with the ChatGPT. I'm cool with like when Eric had said, all right, he wrote up an email, and you take it and you go to ChatGPT like, hey, can you make this sound a little bit better? And then ChatGPT takes it, and that's fine because it's your ideas and it's your stuff, and you've made it sound a little bit better.
Yep.
Or you use ChatGPT, hey, can you give me give me the top five ideas, and it gets you started. And then you take that and you're like, okay, this is my baseline. I'm going to tweak it a little bit because I don't really like this. That's fine, but some people have done the entire thing. Like, write me a book, and they put it out. So that's not.
I didn't want to do that. No.
If you use it to help, you're like, hey, listen, I have this idea, and I can't really figure out how to put it together. Chat, can you help me put these 3 ideas into a paragraph? Great. Then they can help you.
I hired my best friend who was a writer for a car magazine up in Vermont. I reached out to him one day. I was like, dude, you're my best friend. I know you know English a lot better than I do. Would you be able to rewrite this book? Like, I wrote it all. Just make it sound
he's
better.
An editor. He's an editor.
So I was like, $600. I'll send it to you. I want you to actually put some time and love into it. So I want to pay you. He's like, oh, dude, you don't have to. Whatever. I sent the money. He did it in like a matter of a week. And he brought it back to me, and it sounded way too smart.
You're like, this isn't me.
This isn't me.
What is this English thing? I don't know this.
You're like, all right, can you make it like dumb English, please?
Right. So I'm looking at and in all the chapters, there's like analogies. I'm like, I would never say that, but like, it sounds so smart. I'm like, dude, applause, but not me. And so I took his word or his work, and I reworded it one more time, and Ed Stulakified it, right? So I made it my own. And then finally, it was done. But the book name was still called Real Estate Fame. And I was not happy with it. So I get on a coaching call. And by the way, my coach, her name is Kim Johnson. Big shout out to her. She has helped me with a lot in business and life. And I'm on a coaching call with her, and I say, Kim, I don't like the name, and this is why I can't release the book. Because I know that this right here, this is not just something people are going to read. This is going to be a table piece. This is going to be something that is going to stick on a shelf. This is something that people are going to look at as artwork. And I want it to really stick out correctly. And
I like the color.
Some people are not going to read it.
Blue sticks out.
But it is a great, it is great for the table. Like, prop it up, put it on the table.
I would hope
simple.
so, right?
It's simple.
It looks great.
And so people were like, put your face on it, put your name on it. I'm like, nah. So anyway, we're in the middle of our coaching call, and I'm like, Kim, I fucking hate the name of my book. And she's like, okay, let's talk about it. So we do. We talk. And I'm like, and she says specifically, she's like, well, okay, let's talk about it. So the book is about branding and exposing yourself and marketing. I'm like, say that again. What did you say? She said exposing yourself. I'm like, it's going to be called Expose Yourself. It's sexy. It's along the gray lines. It's going to be a little naughty. And at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, I know what I'm going to make a picture of. I'm going to have the book in front of my... Kim, this is amazing. And she's like,
sex sells.
You're worth every penny.
And sex sells. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Let's get this thing going. And maybe 3 months later, we finally release it. It's called Expose Yourself. It's this cover.
How'd you come up with the color? How'd you pick baby blue?
It's my eyes are blue, and I'm never going to change the color of my eyes.
Bro.
And this is something that is stuck to my brand, my personal brand. So I love blue.
I love it. It's
Blue
my
is
favorite.
thing.
It's like my favorite. I love
It's
it.
trustworthy.
I love it. And that's another thing, because I do want to talk about this, because in your book, you mention colors
relating
to it. Now, colors relate to they give off certain things like blue is, now you go through it, but blue is like very like
trustworthy, reliable.
Red is very strong and powerful, right?
Yep.
And like the grays and the blacks is very just kind of even keel, like, you know. And if you look at a lot of brands, like look at Apple, look at Microsoft, look at IBM, look at Tesla, they're all black and white. You know, look at
elegance, simplicity.
You know, look at other ones that are like red. You know, McDonald's is red and yellow. Okay, which is like strong and yellow, kind of, and happiness.
The original Burn Down podcast logo.
Was red, right?
Red.
But one of the things too is like I like it because we did the same thing with like the blue and the reds. They stand out. Okay, the blue is this is not as light blue as that. This is more of a dark blue, which is a little bit more like a old school, like a royal, like. And then the red is just bold, like, and they stick out. We've seen them on the shelves. I've seen people taking videos of them. I'm like, look at, and they pan out. I go, look at those labels. You cannot take your eyes off of that compared to everything else. Yeah. So I want to talk about, let's go through some of the colors that you.
So, for example, blue. Let me just talking about blue, for example. We're talking about trustworthiness. I want to immediately earn trust within someone as quick as I can. So I know blue is one of those colors.
It's cool and welcoming and calm.
Yeah. And what else there is? White, black, multicolor, even multicolor. Like that's colors too, right? Some brands have that stuff. Red, gold, pink. There's too many. But every single one resembles some type of feeling or emotion. And so when it comes to brand consultations with mostly real estate agents that I talk to, but any business for that matter, I say you got to choose maybe one or two, maybe three colors, but you got to be consistent with them and make sure that your audience constantly remembers you for those colors. You gotta. If I name, I don't know, whatever that is, any company, like we just said, McDonald's or Burger King, fast food restaurants. Yeah. Or if we talk about HP or we talk about Mac or Apple, like they all have those consistent themes to their brands, right? And people remember them for them.
See, I love how, like, you know, just looking at this, right? Blue, it says it's trustworthy and reliable. It's calming or often associated with depression. Gold is luxury, success, achievement, triumph, and fortune. The color gold is named after a precious metal of the same name, right? Look at so this is like trustworthy and reliable, but also luxury and success. That's why we have blue and gold.
But also look at black, though.
Black. No, I'm talking now. You have red. Red is associated with excitement, energy,
great stuff,
being color of love and passion. But we also have gold in there. Yeah. So this is like cool and trustworthy with the success and luxury.
Don't blow off black.
No, I'm getting there. And I went to the red being passionate and love, but it's also success and luxury. Yes. And now black, it says sophisticated and elegant. It could be formal and luxurious, but also sorrowful. White is pure, conveys simplicity and innocence, and a minimalistic feel. So we have black and white, which is sophisticated and minimalistic, which is, you know, kind of what we're going for. It's cigars.
Years ago, we were very sophisticated, wearing suits every day. Now we're just in merch.
No, but I do like that, and I like that you picked a color like this, because a lot of times people pick some kind of. Sometimes there's too much, and I think there's beauty and simplicity.
Yes.
And having just this bold color, it sticks out. It's welcoming because it's calm and cool, but it's simple. There's no crazy graphics on here. It's very expose yourself. It's like, well, hold on a second. This is like a book that's welcoming because it's light blue and it's cool, but it says expose yourself on it, which is like, whoa, wait a second. That's not very welcoming. I don't want to expose myself. So it's kind of like a little contradiction there. So it makes you wonder.
I do like on your Instagram the photo shoot that you did with Expose Yourself. There's some great photos.
I know.
It was a lot.
But it's a little.
How was doing that?
It's a little contradictory,
and
it makes you question it. It makes you question it.
It's definitely
makes you pick up the book.
It definitely makes you at least look at it and flip it over and see what the hell's going on. I think it's a good idea that you don't have your face on the back of on the front of the cover. I like that it's on the back because naturally what I just did was I was looking at it and I turned it back and I'm like, oh, there he is. Because sometimes I feel
BDE.
BDE right in the back. Sometimes when I see people who have just their face bolded on the front of the book, I'm just like, is that really?
It depends on how though. Because if you're just if you have that picture that he has on the back, if you have it on front, you're like, all right, look at this pompous bastard.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. But if you have a picture of a very vulnerable picture, if you have a picture of you screaming or crying or something, it's a vulnerable picture, and that makes people think they think differently about it.
So let me play a game with you guys because there's a game in there, and
let's play.
So you heard of Toma before? Toma.
I heard this. Isn't that a Pitbull song? Toma.
Yeah, that's what I heard of him. Yeah.
But in the marketing and branding world, top of mind association.
Okay.
So ready? Let's play the game.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you 3 questions, and I need you to answer them as quickly as you can.
Oh God.
The first thing that's on top of mind.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Ready? Name a coffee company.
Starbucks.
Next question. Name a watch company.
Rolex.
Name an electric car company.
Tesla.
If you look in the book, let's look at the book. Ready?
What page are we at?
This is somewhere on brand authenticity. This is part 2, maybe. Part 2. Maybe part 3. There's a point to this, I promise.
The art. Oh,
let's see. There's a little top of mind association. Cool. Next page. Page 25.
Okay.
Page 26. Sorry, 26 and 27.
Okay.
So I ask you those 3 questions.
Okay.
And if you keep reading, what are those answers?
Right here. Your first answer was Starbucks, your second was Tesla, and your last answer was Rolex.
Yeah. Was I right? Did I win a prize?
Yeah. We got mentioned in his book.
Yeah. And it's those 3 companies that immediately came to your mind that most consumers think of as well. It's just naturally it comes right to their mind. So when we say, for example, let me ask you, what's the first? Already, we'll continue playing. Question 4. What's the first podcast company or podcast that you think of?
Joe Rogan.
Well, besides Burn Down, Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Cool. I would have probably guessed Joe Rogan too. Why?
He's the number 1 in the world. He's the most
number 1 in the world.
He's exposed himself the most.
He's exposed himself the most. He has the most attention. He has the biggest brand. He has the most awareness. He has the biggest influencers that come on. And the list goes on. So top of mind association absolutely needs to be a variable that you also consider in your business. How do you become top of mind?
Yeah. How do we become when somebody says, cigar podcast,
yes.
Burn Down?
Yes. How do you make consumers say that? That's right.
Because that's what I mean. In essence, that's what we are. And I know Eric doesn't like to say we're a cigar podcast because some people think that all you do is talk about cigars. But in essence, if there's 2 key words that we want to be associated with, it's cigar podcast.
I didn't come here today thinking, I don't know what I'm going to step into.
It's a cigar show.
I've never been on your podcast before, but immediately I brought a second shirt because I knew that we were going to
smoke cigars,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know you guys super, super, super well, but I've gotten to understand that your brand is about cigars, podcast, and just fucking cool lifestyle shit, right?
It's cigar conversations. The whole premise is what type of conversations you have when you're just sitting down having a smoke with somebody.
Amen.
That's what it's about. You can be out no matter where you are. You say, hey, you want to go have a cigar? And you guys sit down and you could talk for hours over a stogie. Yes. And we just let's do that on here.
And you need to simplify the business. It cannot be complicated. It cannot be complex because the consumer does not have a complex mind to consume. They want something quick, easy, bite-sized. Give it to me. Let me run. Let me continue to the next thing. So I personally love the concept of what you guys have created.
Thank
I
you.
do. I'm not just saying that because I'm here and I'm trying to stroke egos. It's not that at all.
You didn't have to do that because you drove here for 3 hours.
Which goes to show.
Yeah.
Listen,
Which
if you
we
want to
appreciate.
stroke my ego, but
You can take me
handsome
outside.
son.
listen,
I know it's our second time meeting, but shit.
listen, I'll expose myself outside.
How you doing?
It's a little cold, so don't judge me, all right?
Yeah, give you a little time to warm up,
Yeah.
okay?
But you guys have a cool concept that I personally appreciate. I applaud. So
Thank you.
It's cool to even just be on here and just shooting the shit over cigars, which is one of the coolest podcast concepts that I've been a part of.
So let's get into this now. I appreciate that. Appreciate those kind words. But let's ask you this: since we are on the topic, we are a cigar show. We like to enjoy in the luxury that is cigars.
Yes.
How did you get into cigars, man? Do you remember your first one? How'd you get into it?
I don't remember my first one. However, I do remember the first time I took it seriously. And that was in Miami, Florida. I was with another public speaker by the name of Carlos Gill. And Carlos Gill sat me down and said, Ed, as you grow into this business world and you grow as an entrepreneur, you're going to realize that a lot of the conversations that you have with CEOs, presidents, are usually going to be over scotch or bourbon and a cigar. Yes. He said, learn.
Yes.
And when he told me that, I'm thinking, fuck, I gotta smoke. Shit, my mom's gonna hate me. But I'm like, you know what? Look how long this stogie goes for. I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying. I'm loving the conversation. I'm genuinely having an awesome time on a podcast, which usually I'm just like, let's just get through this. But this is so different. And it's over a cigar. I'm enjoying a nice bourbon with you boys, and we're just diving in to talking about business, evolution, branding.
That's
what it's all about.
That's another good thing that just comes to mind is if you want to be able to, like, if it's a business opportunity, or if you really want to try to pick somebody's brain, if you can get them to sit down and have a cigar with you, you get an hour minimum of their time.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're just, and then you can, now they might be hesitant at first, but then you have a lot of time with them. But if you just said, like, you picked up somebody on the street and said, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? Like, no, you only get maybe like a minute. But if you can sit down with somebody over a stogie,
you really get to know a person.
you get to know somebody. You get an hour and a half. We've been going for 2 hours getting to know each other, having conversations from all different topics. We've hit a plethora of topics.
Yeah.
And so you can get that. You can't really get to say, hey, I want to go for, can I talk to you really quick? They're like, what do you want to talk to me about? Hey, you want to go for a cigar? Bang, you got an hour.
Yes, you get so much more with them. One of the common conversations that I usually start with clients, or like a new hot lead, is usually, hey, Justin, let's sit down, let's chat. By the time the coffee gets cold, you're going to have an idea of how to buy a house in today's market. By the time the coffee gets cold, I usually like to throw that one out there. My best friend, Sal. By the way, so Sal, the guy that sold me the tickets to the Euro, I am best friends with him today. He's on my team. We're selling real estate.
Really?
Love
Dude,
it.
Oh, that's
Full
amazing.
circle. Full
That's a
circle.
fucking cool.
So now Sal taught me that stuff, and now he's teaching me stuff, right? I was his master, his sensei of teaching him to get into real estate. He taught me music, and now I'm teaching him back, and now he's teaching me again. Fucking talk about friendship, man. It's big time. Big shout out to him. I love him for that. But he says that. So he taught me that. He's like, dude, by the time the coffee gets cold, you're going to know exactly how to go ahead and buy a house in today's world. You're going to be fully equipped. That's quick. 15-minute conversation, 20-minute conversation. But a cigar, just as you said, that's an hour-long conversation. I know when I'm going to go out to Los Angeles in January to sit down with my president of my company, I would love to try to go ahead and have a cigar with him because I want to pick his brain. Yeah, I want to really like dive in. I'm going to offer it.
And
hey.
and if you find, like, it's kind of like it's this little, what am I trying to say here?
You're a little more vulnerable.
Well, what I'm trying to say
with
is
a
if you
cigar.
can find somebody, right? Like, let's say there's a room and there's like the big CEO, okay, and everybody wants his attention or her attention. Everybody wants to get down with the CEO, right? They always want to sit down and have a conversation. Let's say there's 5 people, and the CEO smokes cigars, and one of those 5 people also smokes cigars. You kind of have that little bond right off the bat. They're like, oh wait, you enjoy cigar? Oh, come on, let's go have a cigar. The other 4, they're like, well, I want a cigar. I'm like, do you smoke? Nah, I don't. You smoke? Come on. Like, oh yeah, my favorites. The Blueprint. Like, oh, I like the Diligent. I the same. Now you have this little like friendship, this little instant connection because you both enjoy cigars. And now you're like, oh, you want? Next thing you know, you like scotch. Oh, I love scotch. You like bourbon? Oh, I love bourbon. Pour me a glass. Next thing you know, the lips are loosened a little bit, and now you guys are like best friends.
And conversion happens in conversation. This is something I've been taught a lot lately. If you don't have conversation, there's no conversion, right? For me to connect with a lead, for example, in this business world, I have to really get to the root of things. I have to get deep into them. And how am I going to do so? Like, am I going to constantly just ask them about the house that they want to buy, or why do you want to buy, and this and that? Like, I really got to connect with them in some shape or form. And the second that you find some relevant concept to talk about, oh my God, you like hockey? God,
game over.
Did
you gotta find
best friends?
That's like there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Great freaking book. If you haven't read that and you're in and being in sales, you should read that. It's like number one. But it's just everybody should read that book. And they talk about finding. Everybody's got a topic that they enjoy talking about.
Chapter 5, genuine interest.
They always have something that's like what they, and if you just find it, like for instance, right? Like if I didn't know you and all of a sudden we start talking and I find out you're a hockey player, we're talking hockey, right? Who's your favorite team? Do you still play? What position do you play? Do you catch a game last night? You see what's his name going off like has 30-something points in 15 games. You see and now we're talking and you're like, oh yeah, I went to a game. Next thing you know, at the end of the conversation, you're like, man, that Justin guy's awesome, man. We were talking hockey. Like, that guy's great.
One thing Justin's really good at is being able to talk about every topic that you can ever think of.
That's great.
If there's something like we had our cigar event, he's talking about a guy with what is it, like boxcar racing or what?
Slot car racing. Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are these two fucking guys talking about? I got just like, yeah, man, you know what? You do this, you do that. I'm like, bro, I got no idea what you're talking about.
And if you don't know the topic, ask them questions.
Of course,
the person in control of a conversation is the one that asks questions.
Yes.
Justin, so tell me, why did you get into it?
And people love talking about themselves.
Yes,
people love talking about the things that they are interested.
Yes.
Oh, I got a house up here. I love hunting.
Yes.
Let me show you my property. Let me show you this. And I'm like, oh, well, what do you like to hunt? Oh, fucking deer. Look at this buck I just shot. What kind of gun do you use? Oh, it's only bow season. Only bow season. Oh, really? Oh, I got a friend. It's
you got to go along with that too. Is in Dale Carnegie's book, he talks about everybody's favorite word in the English language is their own name. Yes. So when you're talking to people, use their name, right? So like if we're having a conversation, I find out you like hockey, and I find out your name's Ed, they go use Ed's name in the conversation. Like, Ed, so what? Tell me what got you in the. And be like, Ed, that's listen, you are so right, Ed. Let me tell you something. That game was phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. And then like later on in the combination, be like, Ed, we should hang out sometime. We should. And you're using their name because if in the middle, you ever been in a big room and all of a sudden somebody could fucking whisper your name? You're like, somebody just say my name? Like you could pick it out of a gigantic crowd. Somebody could whisper my name, just pick it up. So if they love to hear their own name and they love to talk about what they're interested in. So if you can say their name, like, Ed, tell me how you got into hockey. And then he starts talking about hockey, blah, blah, blah. Ed, that's fantastic.
Random hack. If you forget someone's name, what do you do?
If you forget somebody's name.
Introduce them to someone else and let them say their name.
That's a good one. I like that. That's good. Usually what I do is like, what's your full name?
Yeah.
That's a good
Another one, too, is if it's a weird name, I always add, like, when asking, like, this is a little trick, too, is, so what you're in a conversation, and at the end of it, you forget their name, right? And I say, hey, we should exchange information, right? I'll be like, what's your number? What's your number?
How do you spell your name?
I'll be like, what's your number? I'm gonna shoot you a text. I'll be like, Justin Heisen, you send me a text with your name, full name.
Nope.
And they send me a text with their full name.
Yeah.
Or if it's like a weird name, and I'll be like, how do you spell your name, dude? It's a little. And it'll be like whatever, like if you like your last name Stulak, I'd be like, dude, how do you spell your name?
Right.
And then most people would be like, it's ED. Like, not your first name, dude. Yeah. How do you spell your last name?
Right. Play
and they'd be like, ST. I'm like,
yeah, it's a good way.
Yeah, and that's
But
or you just blatantly like, listen, I totally forgot your name. What's your name? But that's kind of
what really hits home with people and their names is when you actually remember their names after you stop talking with them, whether it's a day, 5 minutes, an hour ago. Because we have events all the time, and I try to remember everyone's name, and then the next event I'll see Ed, and I'll try to associate something with someone's name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, all right, Ed, hockey Ed, Golf
now
Ed.
it's Saint Ulak.
Yeah, now it's Saint Ulak.
Now it's Saint Ulak.
But now you're locked in my brain. So now if I see you next month, I'm gonna be like, Ed, what's up, buddy?
Yep.
And guy, you're like, yo, you remembered my name.
And it goes
Hockey,
such a
man.
long way.
Holy shit, what's up?
It goes a long way when someone remembers your name.
It's so stupid and it's so simple, but the countless times that people are shocked and happy that I remembered their name goes such a long way.
It goes a long way.
Well, another trick that I forgot what, I don't know if it's that book or if it's another book that I read. I think it's another book, and it's a very shorter book because Dale Carnegie's book's thick, but this one's a shorter one. And they say that when you meet somebody, to use their name 3 times in the first like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, "Hey, what's your name?" Like, my name's Ed. Ed, that's very very nice to meet you, Ed. And then
So Ed, tell me where you're from.
So Ed, tell me where you're from.
Smart.
And now I've used it 3 times, and then
That's
you continue to try to use it in the conversation because they like to hear their name. And the more you use it, the more you're like brain. And another thing is like the association, like you had said,
Top
right?
of mind association.
If something's like a guy that comes in, and he's got like fucking pink hair or whatever, you can just be like, pick his name, like Joe with the pink hair, Joe with the pink hair, Joe with the pink hair. And then it's like you have like an association, or you try to think like alliteration where you do like E and E, right? If like
I even not really in like business or networking events, but like at the gym. You go to the gym every day, right? You meet all new people. I'll make a list on my phone called Gym, and I'll put like Ed Hockey, Justin, burn down.
Yeah.
And then every time I see you, Ed, what's up? Justin, what's up? And people are like, holy shit, I'm sorry, bro. What's your name again?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I know you remember my name, but it's like, it's just like stupid little tricks of the trade that people just don't even like think it's stupid, but it goes a long way. Remember.
So what's another book that has stuck out to you?
another book.
One that changed your life.
Well,
You
First
say
one.
it. I know Justin was going to say it, so let Justin say it.
what am I going to say?
Outwitting the devil.
Well, that's one. I was going to say the Holy Bible,
Oh, well,
but
Nice.
I don't know if we don't want to get down that road. But I would say the Holy Bible is by far the best book that
It's a book.
is ever written. It's actually multiple books, but anyway, Outwitting the Devil is by Napoleon Hill. Same author, Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
But Outwitting the Devil is phenomenal.
yeah. Have you ever read that book?
No.
Outwitting the Devil?
No.
Read that book.
Summarize it.
So Napoleon Hill wrote this book, and it's him interviewing the devil. Okay,
Literally.
so it's him.
And it's a Q&A format.
It's a Q&A format of him interviewing the devil and asking the devil questions about how the devil can manipulate and take over the masses, and how the devil can turn people into what he calls drifters. I mean, they just drift throughout life, never amounting to anything. And there's certain tactics that the devil uses, first and foremost being fear. And he asks the devil, like, how do you get into people's brain? He goes, fear. And it's a conversation he has with the devil, and the devil says fear. I instill fear into people to prevent them from doing anything that they ever want. They want, like, all the successes are just on the other edge of the fear, but I instill so much fear into them that they never can overcome that fear, and they never take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know? And then and he has this whole conversation with the devil. And
He talks about how he controls 98% of the population of the world through fear. The only people that can get through are 2% of the world, and those are the people that think for themselves. They go, all like entrepreneurial type of stuff. Believing in yourself.
Well,
going against the masses.
It's a very good book.
Media is the devil.
Yeah,
With the masks
yeah.
and
Well,
culture and all that stuff.
what's
Scare the hell
wild
out
though
of
is he
us, right?
talks about the church. This is back in like the 30s or 40s. He talks about the churches. He talks about the schools. He talks about the media. How
Yes.
there's all devils within inside those
The devil
key
tries
industries.
to infiltrate. Yeah, he infiltrates people's minds in various forms.
And it's not religious or anything like that. It's more or less like
No, it's realism.
it's like it's
Reality.
like kind of shit we're living through like right now with
Yes.
like fake news
Yes.
and all crazy shit that's going on.
Yes.
It's happening still today, and he touches on all this shit that's happening that we're going through today
Yeah.
back then, because I think there's a fact about that book that he had to put it on the shelf for a while
Yeah.
because it was so controversial.
They didn't want to release it. Yeah,
Because he was going against churches, he was going against schools, he was going against, all the things that people look up to and like
That are reality.
it's quite simple. I mean, he talks about like you have two atoms in there's two atoms within yourself and your brain and your body. One's positive, one's negative. The people that go through the positive atoms are the people that I can't control. I can't get through their mind. I can't go through their head. And I read it when I was in my early 20s, but it really opened my eyes to like, holy shit. Like,
yeah. I turned you on to that book, didn't I?
no, I don't think so.
I could have sworn I did. Doesn't matter.
So
We
how
both read it.
about your book?
That one for sure.
Yeah, that one for sure. Another good one is oh my God, he's a top level FBI negotiator. What the fuck's it called?
Exactly.
What's it called?
Oh, I'm waiting for you to say
Oh
it.
my God, what's his face?
It's with a C, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's such a great book, especially for sales.
Hold on. It's
the investigate, not the investigator.
negotiation.
No.
Is it like the art of negotiation?
Something
Hold on.
like that. Oh, the second you say it, we're all gonna be like, oh my God.
Yes, this is his
I
name
can't think of it.
here. Christopher Voss.
Yes,
that's his
Voss.
name. And the book is.
What is it?
Hold on, let's see here. I'll tell you right
It's gonna
now.
piss me off. So
I know.
much.
Did you read this book?
No.
He turned me on to it, and I read it too, and I can't. Chris Voss.
Never Split the Difference.
Oh, you son of
Never
a...
Split the
That
Difference.
one.
You read that book?
No, I wasn't thinking of that one. I was thinking of a different one.
No, so he's the top NFL FBI
Yes.
negotiator, and he
Yes.
talks about how he uses all his negotiating tactics, which he learned, into everyday life, into business, into sales. You know, like emulating people's body language, imitating people's volume, voice. You know, a big thing I learned from him was, if you're going into a shitty situation, automatically just bring it right to the top. Like if you fucked up a task, just be like, Ed, sorry, man. I really, don't be mad at me. I really fucked up this task, but this is what I'm doing to fix it.
Yeah.
And instead of saying like, oh, hey, yeah, you know, it's,
you take
it on the chin really early and bring it up, but you have a
Nice.
solution about how you're gonna fix it.
I like
So
that.
it's not all like.
and you kind of take their ammunition away from them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're ready to like pounce on you and be like, listen, dude, I fucked up. I totally fucked up. I should have done this. I didn't do that. I really let you down. And they're like, all right, well, shit. I was going to tell you that. But okay. All right, cool. Now tell me how you're going to.
Right on.
And they're like, now
you
that
can't tell them.
Yeah. Another good one is A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
I don't know that one.
Viktor Frankl wrote a book.
I'll keep going.
Viktor Frankl wrote a book of called A Man's Search for Meaning, of when he was in a concentration camp and how he survived all of the like when he was in Auschwitz, how he survived all of this, because I think his family got taken away from him, his wife got taken away from him, and they were like, strip him of his clothes, they stripped him of everything, and his whole purpose is like, you can strip me of everything in my life, but you cannot strip me of my mind. He goes, you can take everything away from me, you can take my clothes, you cannot feed me, you can take everything away, but you cannot take away my thoughts. He goes, and my purpose is to survive and get back to my wife and kids. And that's all he kept. He goes, you can take everything away, you can do whatever you want from me, but you cannot take this away from me. He goes, and as long as I have this intact, he goes, I'll have a purpose and
persevere.
Persevere. And I'm like, wow, that's freaking. So it shows about no matter what they do, no matter like how much people try to beat you down. He goes, if you keep, they can't beat here. They can't.
Right.
This is
Between
you.
years, yeah, that's right.
This is you. They can take everything else away, but what's in here is you. That's a good one. There's a lot of.
Let me see if I can.
My
here we
book.
go.
Yeah, let's go yours. What's yours?
Mine is-
Before you go into it, I got because
By the way, we're on 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I write. I used to.
Lots of content.
What I used to do is I used to read books. My reading comprehension isn't the best, so when I read a book, I basically already forget what I just read.
Sure.
So what I do is everything I highlight or underline.
Smart.
I use Microsoft OneNote and I put it all into this.
Your dad turned you
Cool.
onto that. Didn't
Oh
you?
yeah, definitely.
No, I turned him onto that.
Did you?
I did like a whole thing on how to use it, and
But so I remember. So for times like this, when you say, "What's a good book?"
Yeah.
Never Split the Difference is a phenomenal book. I read it twice, and I can barely remember anything from it. But if I show you
The notes.
Never Split the Difference right here by Chris Voss, you'd see chapter 1. All the stuff that I highlight is the stuff that's really impactful. So when people are like, "Oh, I want the cliff note," I've invested a lot of time to do this shit.
Right on.
But
that's good stuff.
Listen, I don't have time like I did when I used to read these books, but I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was like, fuck it. This is stuff that's really good, because you know what? I imagine myself one day maybe talking in front of a crowd, talking in front of people, and I'd be able to leverage this stuff.
Or like a podcast.
Like
Listen,
a podcast.
you have listeners right now.
This is true, too.
Like, they don't have to read the whole book. You don't have to read my whole book. You have to read one chapter that is going to change your business and your trajectory of the way you want to go. My book, the one that did it for me, was 4 Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
yeah, I've heard of that one.
So I'm going to read it for you. It's, if you can't do something yourself, you automate it. If you cannot automate it, you delegate it. And if you cannot delegate it, you eliminate it.
Oh, so say that again.
If you cannot do it yourself, you automate it. If you cannot automate it, you delegate it. Mm-hmm. If you cannot delegate it, you eliminate it.
I like that. I really like that.
And so that taught me the art of delegation, which is very tough to do. But now I have a team behind me that I don't know how on the way here, I put a group chat together of Ron, the guy that helped me with the book, my assistant, and my talent manager. Finally, I put them all in a group chat because I'm like, guys, you all know now my vision. Please help me put it together because I am a one-man show and I can no longer do that.
Yeah.
I need help. Please think for me. Do stuff for me. Delegate. Just I don't know. I don't have time to do it. Do it. I trust you somewhat, kind of. Please.
Please do it right.
Yeah.
And these are things that you can delegate.
That's
awesome. What can you automate? You can automate emails. You can automate email campaigns. You can automate posts. You can automate things like that. If you can't do it yourself,
we did same thing with editing. We delegated the editing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, listen, the editing was taking a lot of toll. So we're like, hey, who can do it? Somebody reached out to us. Now we have an editor, right? I have two more books that I don't know if you guys have read, but there's one called The Compound Effect.
Nice.
Yeah. By Darren Hardy. I don't know if have you ever read, read that?
Refresh.
All right. So The Compound Effect talks about how it's basically how small wins every single day compounded ultimately equal the big win. Mm-hmm. And they say that if you make small changes, whether good or bad, they compound over time, right? Just like compound interest. If you're making small little deposits into a stock market, into the investment account, you make small little deposits. Over time, it doesn't look like it's doing much, right? You make $500 a month. Okay, at the end of the year, you deposit in $6,000. It might grow to $6,600. A year later, it might be $15,000. A year later, it might be $25,000. A year later, next thing you know, 10 years, it's $150,000. Then another 10 years, it's $500,000. Another 10 years, it's $3.5 million, right? But it's $500 a little bit. But they say that if you go the same way with you're get a little bit better every day, a little bit better, then ultimately you've hit your big goal, right? If you want to lose 100 pounds, you can't lose it all in once. You can lose a pound this week, maybe 2 pounds next week, maybe 4 pounds next week, maybe another pound, and keep going. And eventually, a year down the road, you've lost 100 pounds. You're like, holy shit.
You want 50,000 followers, you got to start with one. You got to
start with one, right?
Yep.
Journey of 1,000 miles takes the first step. But he also talks about if you go in the opposite direction, you can be way off. The analogy he uses is a plane. If you fly a plane from New York to LA, okay, if you deviate from the path in the beginning, there's a path that gets there. Mm-hmm. Let's just say straight shot. If you deviate from the path by half of a degree, okay, now in New York, you're pointing at LA, and if you do a half of a degree, it looks like you're pointing at LA. It looks like you're not even barely. You can't even measure it in the beginning. But that half a degree, by the time you get to LA, you've completely missed LA and you didn't even know you passed it. That's why he's saying, but so that it can go in the negative too. If you're getting a little bit worse, then you're so far off, it's going to take you so much more to get back. Then so that's that one. The second book is called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter.
Okay.
This one is great. This one, he talks about every single day you might have, I don't know, how many conversations do you think that you have in a day? How many conversations do you have with people?
10, 15, 20.
10, 15, 20. Let's say if you made a lot. Yeah. Say a lot. 50.
Sure.
Okay? You've had 50 conversations. That's a lot. Okay? How many conversations do you have with yourself in your own head every single day? How many thoughts do you have every single day?
Oh, my God, thousands.
Thousands. So they're saying what you say, what other people say to you, doesn't even compare with what you say to yourself in your own brain. Just the sheer number. So if somebody else is telling you you can or you can't do this or you shouldn't do that, who gives a shit if 25, 50 people said that you can't do something when you have 1,000 thoughts of yourself in your brain every single day? He's like, so it doesn't matter what other people are saying. What are you saying to yourself every single day? Because if you're telling yourself, I can do this, I will do this every single day, 1,000 times, it pales in comparison to what anybody else is going to say. So he says, we have all these conversations. It happens on the golf course. A perfect example. There's a caddy that says it, right? Guy hits a shot. And it's like, maybe it's a bad shot. The caddy goes to the guy and goes, that's a fucking awful shot. Why would you ever hit that? You're not even fucking close. And the guy goes, why would you say? He goes, no, but this is how we talk to ourselves when we hit a bad shot, right? You hit a bad one, you're like, God, just that's such a terrible shot. You're such a shitty golfer. How could you hit like that? He goes, would you ever say that to somebody else? Why are you saying it to yourself? He goes, it's so much more powerful saying it to yourself. He's like, so are you building yourself up or are you putting yourself down in your own head?
Yeah, we're our own worst critics.
Right? So he goes, when you start talking to yourself in a positive way, like he goes, the caddy goes, now look at that shot. He goes, that wasn't a bad shot. You're just like 15 yards over. All right, come on, let's go make up and down.
So similar to the last two books that you just said, there's one more that I know, Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah.
It takes the same energy to think big as it does to think small. So why think small when you can think big?
Yep. That's
damn.
Oh, fuck, it says that. There's a quote that says, being realistic is the fastest road to mediocrity. It says, anybody who ever did anything great was never realistic in their thinking. You go, why would you be realistic? You just think big. Think as big as you could possibly think. Dude. Those are the people that do great things.
Yeah. Such as Elon.
Right?
Dude,
do you think that anybody, do you think if somebody came, if Elon went to somebody and said, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a rocket that can launch and then come back and I'm going to catch it. They're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's never going to happen. Yeah, go back. What are you smoking? That's stupid. But Elon did it. Back 15 years ago, people would have thought that's crazy.
I didn't realize that was a thing until like 2 weeks ago.
And he did it. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, holy shit, is this real? Is this AI?
Before planes were a thing, somebody said, you know what? I'm going to make a gigantic lipstick tube with engines on the side. I'm going to ship people across the world. You're fucking crazy. That's never going to happen. Somebody did it. The Wright brothers said, we're going to do it. We're going to build a machine that can fly.
It's impossible until someone does it.
Exactly, right? And the people that made those impossible things a reality were not thinking realistically. Right. Because if they were, they're like, I can't do the impossible. Yes, you can.
Solid advice for the listeners.
Fucking crazy, man.
Fucking shit.
Yo, we got into it, man.
Damn.
2.5 hours, longest by far.
Damn.
This is what happens when you show up early.
Yeah,
right?
man. We get to crush it.
What happens when you show up early? And now we're not sitting here until 9:30 at night.
Well, Ed, we still have
carpet, baby.
We still have people here that are listening still, that are watching still. So,
by the way, if you've made it this far in the episode, shoot us a DM. Okay, if you made it this far in the episode, shoot us a DM. We got something special we'll give you.
Yeah.
Okay, if you've made it all the way to the end of this episode, shoot either of us a DM or the Burnout Podcast or Ed. Shoot him a DM when he tells you his Instagram handles, and we're gonna hook you up with some goodies.
I'm going to send you a copy of my book.
Okay. Oh, all right. So you get maybe some cigars, maybe some cigar goodies, and a free book. How about that for the people listening all the way to the end?
You've listened all the way.
How about that? All right. And you can just send us a DM and say, I listened to the whole Ed Stulak episode.
Yep.
Nice. Done.
I like it.
All right. So for the people that are still here, that are watching and listening, we like to give our guests the red carpet where they like to expose themselves. I like to plug away.
Nice segue there.
Thank you. Where they can just say what's going on, where they can find you on socials, if whatever business venture you got going on, however you want to promote yourself, have at it. Shamelessly plug, my friend.
Instagram is my best place to find me. I'm on there way too much. So I'm probably going to be getting your DM and probably going to be seeing it and responding right away. So Ed Stulak, you can find me on Instagram, on all social media platforms. I am Realtor of TikTok on TikTok.
You are the Realtor of TikTok?
Realtor of TikTok.
Damn, you got in there early on that one.
2019.
Yeah. You could probably sell that for a pretty coin right now.
Yo, the Association of Real Estate, the actual National Association of Real Estate reached out to me. Their attorney reached out to me and said, you cannot have Realtor of TikTok. We're going to go ahead and sue you.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are they, on what grounds?
Because technically we cannot say realtor of something because the word realtor is trademarked. So we cannot say realtor of New Jersey, realtor of New York, realtor of TikTok, for example. So I said, no, it's not realtor of TikTok. It's real Toro of TikTok.
Yeah, real tour of TikTok.
Yeah, real Toro of TikTok.
Yeah, I'm taking a tour of TikTok. I just couldn't use the U.
There you go.
Done.
So
good for you.
Eat me.
Yeah, my company's name is Real.
Yeah.
So it's Real.
There you go.
Tour of TikTok.
That's right. Simple.
So
Anyway,
it's my
you can find me
company's
on there.
tour of TikTok. Done.
It is.
Done.
But yeah, message me, Instagram, TikTok. Those are my platforms. And yeah, I would be so honored if you check that Expose Yourself. It only took me 3 years to write, so.
Where can you get the book?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Made
We're gonna
it
put that
simple
link in
for
the
everyone.
description.
Can we get these books John Hancocked?
Oh, of course we can. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It's been 2.5 hours of some great time with Ed Stulak, Mr. Expose Yourself, Mr. DJ Saint Ulak. Aw. If you like this episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell. Every time you know what the deal. You know what the deal. I gotta tell you. And I'm Eric, Justin, Dapper Cigar, Brother Cigar, Ed Stulak. This is the Burn Down Podcast. We love you. Cheers, chin chin, salud. We'll see you next time.